Chaotic Princess. Is that what that says? That's a hell of a name. Okay, let me go ahead and fire up my last device here. If it comes up, there we go. Oops, don't want to do that. I'm actually about a minute or so early, so I don't think anybody's really tuned in just yet. So, excuse me, we got a little bit of time, but we're talking about President Trump from an aspect of the good stuff. So, I want to find out from you folks why so many folks like President Trump and what he has accomplished. So, let me go ahead and put this last streaming information in here, and we should be up and running momentarily here. Okay, that didn't go well. There we go. All right. All the good stuff. That's what we want to talk about today. All the good stuff. The good stuff of President Trump. And there should be plenty to bring up, but I'm assuming some people are going to say there's nothing. So we're gonna tackle it from that aspect. But we're gonna have an afternoon Saturday show. Yesterday we had, what do you call it? Friday night politics. Very very busy news day yesterday. I'm assuming plenty of that will come up today. But we're going to be talking. I want to talk to as much MAGA as I can get my hands on, because we want to hear why so many favor Trump. We want to hear about the accomplishments. There are people who think Trump is the best president we've ever had. So we certainly want to talk to folks like that, and figure out why, despite the controversy, there are so many, and I put emphasis on so many people that really like President Trump. And of course, we'll have liberals come in here and describe the opposite as well. But we're going to try to see if we can have it from this is going to be a heavy, hopefully, we can get plenty of MAGA in here. This is the goal of this live. Speaking of MAGA, I don't threw my damn hat down. Speaking of live, the purpose of this live is to talk to as many MAGA as possible. So that's what we're going to be attempting to do here. I think we got just about everything running. We should be up momentarily here. Um, I came on a little bit earlier than I should have been, but I think we got everything in here. Let's see if it gets my last stream up and running. And well, I got an F-35, and that's what's getting knocked around there. Okay, so let me go ahead, and we should be ready to go. We're on X today, so we're not on Facebook. We're going to be on X. We're going to be on Instagram. We're going to be on TikTok, and of course, we're going to be on um, YouTube. So, good evening, folks. Once again, it is indeed your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. We are now live. We're going to be discussing President Trump from the opposite angle that we've done, probably, so to speak, for the last week or so. There's been a lot of things President Trump has done that has been in the news that has gained him criticism. But I want to do it from the opposing side. We want to talk about the good stuff. We want to talk about the good stuff. I want to talk to plenty of MAGA if I can get my hands on it. Good afternoon, there, rapid fire. I want to talk about the good stuff. 77 million folks voted for President Trump, and that's nothing to shake a stick at. What led 77 million people to vote for Trump? Many are still suggesting that if they had to vote again, they'd do it all over again for President Trump. So we want to talk about accomplishments. We want to talk about the good stuff. He's been in office nearly a year. I mean, what are we? Well, let's not get too exaggeratory. Let's just say he's been in office almost 9 months. So been in office almost 9 months. Surely there has to be some good there, right? If folks are suggesting that he's the best president in U.S. history, or better yet, he's the GOAT, you've heard that, or even if you don't believe he's the best, but you believe he's doing a good job. Let's go with something more realistic. Folks believe that President Trump is doing a good job. Well, those are the folks we want to talk to. We want to talk to plenty of MAGA in here. Because listen, we know the liberals do not like Trump. After all, President Trump has also stated he don't like the liberals. So I think the relationship is mutual. The feeling is mutual on both sides. I'm sure we'll get plenty of liberals up here as always, but I do want to talk to MAGA. I do want to hear from plenty of my Republican conservatives and, of course, MAGA. You know, the program has always been MAGA friendly. We don't block, ban, or censor. You know how it is. So your politics are free to state here. They always have been. They always will be. Miss Mobetta says, request up MAGA. Yes, that's what, I should have had that on the actual monitor behind me, Miss Mobetta. That should have been up there. Request up MAGA. I like that. But that is what we're doing. I want to hear from some folks on the right as to why the favoritism, the love of Trump is still so significant, despite the controversy. There's a lot of controversy that orbits around Trump. And there has always been controversy orbiting around Trump since he came down the golden escalator. We'll talk about why that is, but we're going to go. You always see the funny comments. Bill Howell says, are you high? What the fuck, bro? Trump hates you. Fair enough. I'm not saying that Trump likes me whatsoever. And that comment that doesn't fall on deaf ears, Bill. But just because President Trump does not like folks on the left, I'm assuming when you say he hates me, he hates me because I lean left. I'm assuming that's what you're saying. I'm assuming. And I see Bart in the comments says, yeah, this is ridiculous. Goodbye. So even discussing anything that Trump may have accomplished enough to make him say, fuck it, I'm out of here. Look. This is where you get to come and speak. There has to be something there. After all, 77 million folks have supported President Trump. Are you suggesting that there is simply nothing redeemable about this president? There's just nothing there at all. We're going to talk about that. And I see in the comments, 188 says you're cringe. So we can't even. There has to be something there. There has to be something there. 77 million folks voted for President Trump. Millions of folks are saying they still would vote for him. So there has to be something there. I want to talk to MAGA. I want to hear what it is. I see Kevin King and Gangsta Grandma both in tandem saying there is nothing there. There is absolutely nothing there to make this guy redeemable. Come on, now there has to be something there. So let me go ahead and talk to you folks. We'll certainly end up discussing this in detail. Stop wasting time.
Iran, the bully of the Middle East.
Hang on a second. Trump is out. I wasn't even ready to cue that up.
Attacks would be far greater and a lot easier. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated.
What about that? How many of you folks remember the constant use of the word obliterated by the Trump administration? Now, President Trump, with the assistance of the Israelis, bombed the Iranians' nuclear ambitions, bombed their nuclear program. As Trump says, it was obliterated. We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff. There has to be good things. There's 77 million folks. Is that not an accomplishment? Is that not an accomplishment? Even folks on the left side of the aisle did not favor letting President Trump, or better yet, letting Iran have a nuclear weapon. So President Trump is responsible, if you listen to him, for obliterating Iran's nuclear ambitions. But in more recent time,
years of devastating war, this morning, President Trump celebrating a historic step toward peace, telling Fox,
This is more than Gaza, this is peace in the Middle East, and it's an incredible thing.
Trump announcing on social media what he describes as the first phase of the peace plan, saying Hamas will release all of the hostages very soon.
We think they'll all be coming back on Monday. So it looks like that's the thing. And that'll include the bodies of the dead.
In return, Israel will withdraw its troops to an agreed upon line. It comes after months of tense negotiation.
How's it not a good thing? Peace in the Middle East. We're getting the hostages back from Gaza. The people of Gaza, everybody's yelling free Palestine and talking about Benjamin Netanyahu is going too far. President Trump has brokered a ceasefire and the return of the hostages. We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff. We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff. Is that not an accomplishment? Is that not something that President Trump deserves some sort of credit for? We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff. It can't all be bad now, can it? But continue it on.
You'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad. Now, we did send FBI in about 4 months ago to work, and it brought some of the numbers down, and they did a great job, but we're sending in the big force now. We also sent them into Chicago on a sort of a moderate basis, and we brought down crime a little bit in Chicago, but we're now going to bring it down very big. We're going to be doing Chicago probably next.
Bringing down crime in major American cities. If you listen to Trump, he's brought down crime, according to Trump, in D.C., our nation's capital. According to President Trump, the crime rate is now dropping in places like Portland, Oregon, soon to be done so in Memphis, Tennessee, and, of course, Chicago, Illinois. Bringing down crime. That's saving lives. That's saving victims. How is that not a positive? How is that not part of President Trump's accomplishments? President Trump, the name of this program is indeed President Trump, the good stuff. I want to talk to some MAGA. I want to hear. There has to be something there. 77 million folks voted for President Trump. Many say they would do it all over again. There has to be something there. President Trump, the good stuff.
The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down. Listen to this, please. 99.999%. Think of that, 99.999. 3 people got in. 3.
Wow.
And I got angry as hell at Tom Homan. How did you allow 3, Tom?
Only 3 people got in the country. I didn't hear the first beginning of that, though.
We've set all-time records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. Think of that, ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down. Listen to this, please. 99.999%.
Lowest border crossings ever recorded. Down 99.999%. Is that not an accomplishment? We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff. 77 million folks voted for the guy. Is that not an accomplishment? But, they say in the old infomercials, remember that? Remember the old infomercials? But wait, there's more? You've heard that before?
Prices, but the big thing is energy. When you bring down energy, everything comes down. And the energy prices are way down. I see we're down to about $61 now a barrel. And what gasoline's going to be, I think gasoline's going to be below $2 at some point in the pretty near future. It's very low, much lower than it was under Sleepy Joe.
$2 a gallon, under $2 a gallon, says President Trump. Gas is, he said, $61 a barrel. I remember under Biden, I think fuel had, or oil had topped over $100 a barrel. President Trump is saying it's under $61 a barrel. That's President Trump. Is that not an accomplishment? We're talking about the good stuff, talking about President Trump, the good stuff. So I do want to end up talking to you folks because, like I said, make no mistake about it, individuals are suggesting that there is no redeeming qualities of President Trump. I gave you several. Now in the comments, Harold Airman or Atman says, what's wrong with you? No, listen, I just want to run a program because I want to run this from a different angle because, listen, there's no shortage of, with Trump being such a controversial person, there's no shortage of, shows where we're criticizing President Trump. And there's probably not going to be any shortage of shows in the future where the president is being criticized. But he still has a colossal following. There has to be a reason why. So I want to talk to MAGA. I want to hear folks give me the good stuff. Nevertheless, I'm going to talk to some liberals as well. But I do want to find out why his following remains so strong with the liberals saying there's no redeeming qualities about him. He's a liar and deserves Kirk karma, says DJ on Instagram. Wow, or on YouTube, rather. He says Trump is a liar and he deserves Kirk karma. That's bad. That's horrible. I hope he sends the military to my town so they can take turns with my wife. No fun intended. That's a hell of a thing to say for somebody who's talking about they don't want to have fun. Let me go straight to the box. I cannot believe somebody just said something like that. I cannot believe somebody would say that. Wow, Stick the ruler. The Democrats are the devil, says K-Time. Well, we're going to be talking hopefully to some MAGA if I can get them over on TikTok. If you're on Instagram, we're also live on X. Good evening, Stick. Welcome. Better yet, good afternoon. Welcome to the program.
Hey, what's going on, Tim? How you doing?
And not much of that. We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff. Give me something that you think that is a... Wow, that's not a good sign.
Hey, I got this thing where I call the good stuff, it's like ice cream and, stuff that's sweet. Trump ain't sweet. You know what Trump would be if he was a food? Trump would be a pickled sausage. or
Come
just
on,
a
now. Lori, let's go down the list. Is it not a good thing to secure the border so we know who is in our country? We don't have folks coming in here getting entitlement programs and all of that shit. Is that not an accomplishment of President Trump?
No, I don't think that's an accomplishment of President Trump. I think that's an accomplishment of the Constitution and the people who actually follow the Constitution when it comes down to the border. So I don't give him anything. They had the first term he had, was it Title 92, whatever that junk was called.
Okay.
And, they had the asylum laws. He had the same laws as he does, at that time and at the beginning of his presidency this time. So at the end of the day, he really hasn't done anything but show people we will be as cruel as possible to you if you come here. Don't come. Now, MAGA, they don't mind people suffering. They don't mind people, being mistreated, especially if they're not a United States citizen. They don't care about it. And that's the difference between a person that has morals and a person that actually loves his country. They will follow the Constitution and the letter of the law.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to indicate by some way, fashion, or form that our current Commander-in-Chief, President Trump, does not love his country? And for my YouTube folks, smash that like button. It helps out with the algorithm. If you're watching on YouTube in particular, smash that like button. What are you trying to say? Trump don't like the country?
No, he don't like the country. I mean, he allowed Qatar to have a goddamn base over here, a military base.
Yeah, but
it's an Air Force base at that.
Yeah, but with President Trump in this Qatar Air Force base, they're purchasing several F-15s from us, which means that's going to stimulate the economy in Idaho because they're creating jobs and things like that. Is that not a good thing?
No, it's not. They can ship them shits over there and train their ass over there. No, it's not. I'm a veteran myself. No, it's not. And any veteran that says otherwise is an asshole and is a traitor also to this country.
What is
they're allowing him to receive a fucking $400 million plane so they can come over here and do what they do. No, 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 no. That's not how we get down.
Well, in defense of President Trump, there is no actual evidence that this base that is being erected in Idaho had anything to do with the jet.
No, it has it. It really does. If you got common sense says they never had one in his first term. He didn't get a jet in his first term, but now he got this big, massive ass $400 million jet. Now they got a goddamn airspace base, whatever you want to call it, Air Force base. Nah, I'm not on that. It's like, and ain't nobody gonna tell me otherwise.
How about now where RV USA in the comments says they're just allowing their pilots to train there? He says, I'm a trainer and we've done that for decades. We've actually, and I had a veteran come on the program yesterday and say something similar. Like, we had other folks from other countries do something similar.
Yep. We had Afghanistan do something similar. How you feel about Afghanistan? We've had the Saudis. How you feel about the Saudis? We've had the even some of the Russians at one time came over and was trained. So at the end of the day, all the people that I'm naming, we don't have good relations with these people.
Yeah, but how? But it hasn't really.
They turned around. They turned around and used our training against us.
I mean, unfortunately, that can happen because we trained the Iranians how to fly F-14s back in the late 70s, and that hasn't worked well either. But I mean, that can happen. Relationships come and go.
It's not about a relationship. It's about who was in charge, who allowed the shit to go down, and who's getting basically a leg up. It's all of it points to Donald Trump. And at the end of the day, if it comes back just like it did with Bin Laden, when they got trained, because we was against the Russians at that point, you know, Charlie Wilson's WAR,
Okay.
then guess what? We got what we got with the Saudis. And we got what we got with the Afghanis.
But in regards to Qatar, they're not currently an adversary of ours. So, I mean, that could strengthen our relationship with a country in the Middle East. As Trump said, he's working on peace in the Middle East.
Man, Trump just allowed Netanyahu to do strikes on them people.
There was a such thing as, October 7th did happen.
So that don't even mean anything. Like Qatar was not Hamas. If they got an H group over there, it still ain't got nothing to do with Qatar at the moment. But again, we're supposed to be friends with the Israelis and we're supposed to be friends with Qatar, and then our friend goes and does that to another friend. Like, come on, Tim.
I mean, but President Trump was able to broker peace between not only the Israelis and the Palestinians, but even Netanyahu apologized to Qatar in their undecent terms. I mean, Trump is he's actually cleaning things up in the Middle East.
Man, he ain't cleaning up nothing. He's causing the chaos. At the end of the day, when he opened his mouth about who's gonna whose side he had and all of that, and he just opened his mouth, and then on top of that again, he opened his mouth when he said he felt like the election was rigged in his favor. So they all knew who was gonna win, and they all already knew what he thought, and they already knew what he was gonna do. Even when it comes down to Ukraine, he did everything he said he was gonna do. He kept funding from him. He kept backing Putin. He clapped him down the runway, clapped all the way till he got to him. You know, stuck his hand out first, rolled out the red carpet, had our military.
Yeah, but Stick, there is a lot of folks. I mean, like I said, 77 million voted for Trump. Trump promised that he was going to stop backing in Ukraine and sending our money overseas. I mean, that's what the people wanted. He didn't do anything that the people didn't want. Promises made, promises kept.
And now, I want to hear from you. I know you like to play devil's advocate. And now, what is he doing?
Right now, he's upset that Russia has kind of went over their boundaries, so he's a little bit upset with Russia. He's kind of softened on the Ukraine, but at the same time, he promised to stop sending money over there, and he actually did that. The weapons that Ukraine are getting now,
Oh,
they're being
no,
paid
no,
for
no,
by
no.
NATO member
No,
states.
no. Time out. Number one, yes, he did stop. He did give Putin a leg up. Yeah, we're gonna say it the right way. He gave Putin a leg up. But then once Putin went over there and got with his other homeboys, Xi Jinping, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
they met and had a conversation. You know, in India and
Oh,
North
no.
Korea.
They ain't just have a conversation. They showed everybody, they showed the world, if y'all want to fuck with us, come on and fuck with us and see what you get. Including your ass, Trump. You as an outsider. We the cool kids. Stay your ass over there.
Well,
So,
Trump is an alpha male stick. Trump is not going to be deterred or he's not fearful of four guys meeting.
Stop it. Trump, once he seen that, Trump went hiding. We thought it was about the Epstein files.
How did he go in hiding? You're telling me he went in hiding, yet just last night he knocked another 100% tariffs on the Chinese.
No. You know what he did? No. I'm talking about when they all got together. Trump went in hiding. He got sick. That hurt his feelings. Like his ankles got swole. His heart was palpitating. Like he seen what he thought was his best friend over there with the other people who he just like really don't really get along with him, but he plays like, okay, we get along. But that's the cool kids. Trump is the little nerdy little boy that can't play basketball. He can't play football. His
Wait a minute.
His ankles are bad. He's overweight. He can't run up and down the court to play basketball. He can't do nothing. Those are the cool kids now.
Wait a minute. You're calling our adversaries the cool kids while insulting our president. Are you being anti-American, Stick?
No, I'm not being anti-American. I'm telling you the truth. That's what they did to him. If you look at the old high school movies and you go look at like...
Let me hang up on that. Go ahead. I had a call. Go ahead.
You remember on Cooley High, like Coach Cheese was the dude? Remember Coach Cheese was the dude, right?
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to be like Coach Cheese. And then you had the little nerdy dude with the glasses following Coach Cheese around trying to... That's Trump.
I don't know. I see all these...
In the hallway, Coach Cheese is he making out with his old lady. The dude with the glasses is looking at Coach Cheese and looking at the girl looking at him like, man, you better not try to touch me.
Okay.
So,
all these... He just ended the Israeli-Palestinian conflict yesterday. Can you show him any love at least for that?
how did he end it?
You think it would not be still going if Trump didn't get involved? You don't think that Trump is the one that ended that? You don't give him credit for that? Without Trump, that's still going on.
Nope.
Oh, come on.
I don't give him credit to. I don't give him credit to. We see Hamas and Netanyahu and anybody else, the Gaza people, the Palestinians themselves. All three of those factions need to be together making the deal. Until that happens, until we actually see maybe 2 months without any Palestinians passing, any Israel. Well, we ain't even seen any Israelis so far.
Would you give them credit then? If you get your 2 months, if okay, Trump said it's over with now. 2 months from now, if it remains calm, would you come back on and give President Trump credit?
I would give him credit, but again, I wouldn't give him a peace prize because now he's just trying to ride Obama's junk.
I get it. You don't have to give him the prize, but as long as you give him credit, Stick, that's what we're talking about. We're just making sure, because some liberals are not going to get Trump credit for anything. They wouldn't give him credit if he cured cancer, as many on the right said. So we're trying to make sure that you would give him credit if he did accomplish it.
No, well, what I would give him credit for, just like I would give him credit for the fast tracking of the vid vaccine.
Okay, Operation Warp Speed.
I would give him credit for the effort that he had with putting, trying to get a vaccine out. But the actual credit that deserves to go to the doctors that put in the work that actually went fast with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it doesn't happen without him. Stick, I do got to move it on. So 2 months from now, as peace in the Middle East remains stable, I'm gonna look for you 2 months from now. That'll be a Christmas gift to the channel. You'll come back in December and admit President Trump deserves credit. Am I right?
Yep. All the way, 100%. I'm loyal to myself. I ain't gonna lie on you, Tim. I ain't gonna lie on myself.
All right, give me your address. I'll send you out a hat.
Hey, check this out. You better get that shit up out of here. Don't make me get gangster grandma on your ass. Matter of fact, when you get up here, troll the shit out of Tim for that one.
Oh my
Troll
God.
his ass. I'm sorry.
It's always a
All right,
pleasure.
Tim, you have a good one.
Always a
Until
pleasure,
gangster
Stick.
grandma get up there.
Oh my God. Bless your heart. Always a pleasure, Stick. By the way, folks, tap the screen. This is uncensored programming. As always, we don't block, ban, or censor any damn body. We've been that way since day one. The program is always MAGA friendly. Today, we're actually taking it from a standpoint of 77 million voters for President Trump. Many of them remain adamant that President Trump is not only a great commander-in-chief doing what's right by this nation, some would argue that he's the best president we've ever had. So because a lot of our programs are more of the more critiquing President Trump, today we want to do the other side. Want to hear about the good stuff. We do want to get as many MAGA as we can get. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't. I see Ample Juice says rage bait. Could be, because I got liberals in the comments tearing me to shreds right now. Nevertheless, we do want to hear the other side. Like I said, 77 million. Many of them are still adamant that they would absolutely vote for President Trump if there was another election. No way in hell would they ever consider choosing Biden or Kamala Harris for the job. So we're talking about it. The good stuff. Jennifer Lynn in the comments says there is nothing good. No redeeming qualities whatsoever, huh? The border, obliterating Iran's nuclear ambitions, lowering crime in U.S. cities. No, it just ended the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. No redeeming qualities whatsoever, huh? As my last caller who did not favor Trump whatsoever even admitted Operation Warp Speed is also in that category. But we're talking about even from his second term. So tap the screen. Certainly going to need you folks on my YouTube side to smash that like button. Helps out the algorithm, brings in more MAGA. If you're watching on Instagram or you're watching on X or TikTok, feel free to follow the program and follow us as well. In the comments, Thomas Conservative. Trump is the best we will ever have. This is what we're talking about, folks. This is what we're talking about. 77 million. Many of them still happy. Thomas Conservative in the comments on YouTube. Trump is the best we will ever have. Not the best we have. Not doing a good job. The best we will ever have. From 1776 on throughout the future. The best we will ever have. Want to find out from you folks. So tap the screen. Going to the next comment. Debbie McGee says nauseating. Wow. Miss Mo Better follows up by saying bullshit. 34 felonies and serving no time, but yet he locking up people and saying they committed crimes. When does he serve jail time? Well, Nightshade Script, many believe that the felonies were part of a witch hunt by Alvin Bragg, that he was charged with crimes that most business folks that committed the same acts would not be charged with. Therefore, 34 felonies would likely never culminate in President Trump doing any time or incarceration. Going back to the box, so he messed up with Medicare. I pity the American people. Almost sounded like a Mr. T quote. But in regards to him messing up with Medicare, it isn't 100% confirmed yet. I mean, obviously Marjorie Taylor Greene and others are speaking out, but it isn't 100% confirmed yet. Everybody's premiums have not went up officially yet. So there is still hope. Going back to the box, you were called out, so we got to bring her up. Gangsta Grandma.
I can't. God damn it. What the fuck is wrong with your ugly, fucking black ass? You know what? You honest to God, need to go back and be black. Quit being white so fucking bad. Quit blinking his bleach and his uncooked proteins dripping from your mouth.
What the hell are you talking about? We're talking about the president.
What the hell am I talking about? Oh, yeah, oh, we're so good about Trump. Oh, he did this. Oh, he did it. Get the fuck out. He wants your black ass back in the field, dumbass.
What has President Trump said to make you believe that he wants people in fields? Where are you getting that from? You making that up? Is that some kind of liberal shit you're hearing?
Okay. You know what? Now I'm about to choke you the fuck out. And I will take your black card. I have taken it, and I bet you won't get your ass back in it again. Let me tell you, what's a black job? What the fuck is a black job? Like he said, when he was getting up there with the damn Mexicans, he was taking them out the fields. What did he say? The Mexicans are taking our job, your black jobs, right? What the fuck you think that is, dumbass?
Well, a black
You want to
job.
go back to the damn fucking fields again, picking cotton.
Okay, first of all, you and I both know that immigrants, they don't just do jobs in the field. Immigrants do all sorts of jobs.
No shit, Sherlock. But he was saying like that. Come on, can you read in between the lines? Are you that fucking blinded to the fucking white man that you cannot read in between the lines? And you want to be white so fucking bad, you ratty raccoon?
This has nothing to do with wanting to be white. We're talking about...
It is. Yes,
no, it isn't. No, it's not.
You always are fluffy. Every fucking show you do, you fluff. You cannot resist not fluffy. You over here saying, oh, what's so good about him? Oh, look at the border. You're so fucking goddamn fixing the damn border, you dumb fuck. It's still the same goddamn border, dumb fuck. Name me one policy he has done to get the damn border closed. Name it.
He used his pen, executive orders. He got the border.
Executive order is not a fucking law, dumb fuck.
Okay, did you not hear the man?
It's not an executive order.
Okay.
That's an executive order. It's not a fucking law, dumb.
I don't care.
Go back to fifth grade, dumb. Go back to fifth grade, dumb. That's why you're so damn slow, dumb. You know, you say pot still. Who the fucking name of God says pot? Now I know you're still fucking damn special and you're fucking old as hell. I'm younger than you, and who the fuck says pot? For God's sake.
Reefer, marijuana, what are you talking about?
It's blunts, it's trees, or it's fucking gas, not pot. For God's sake. See, that's why I know you're fucking old ass. You need to go back to school and get an education because God damn it, it's fucking stealing your ass.
Okay, well, first of all, blunts contains more than just a marijuana product. Pot is just marijuana. Blunts is the shit you open up.
Blunt is a blunt. It is ganja. It is gas. It is what? Yeah, I bet you say joints. For God's sake, I know you say joints.
Reefer? How about reefer?
Oh my fucking
reefer?
God. Oh my fucking. See? Do you see?
Because
that's why I know. That's why you know what?
You're criticizing me because I don't. You're criticizing me because I don't know the modern. Hang on, look.
You're a black man in a white man's fucking mind, thinking that this man likes your ugly ass, thinking that he's not gonna put you in a fucking tree, thinking he loves your fat ass, and he really doesn't love you, Tim. He wants you in a tree or in the fucking field, and then you over here cock blocking for, saying, "Oh, this is what he's doing so good," and you always bring up the border, but yet your black ass will never tell me what policy he has done. All you can say, "Oh, he ate the pen and he wrote something out. He wrote something." That's not the law, Boogie.
Okay,
so tell me
okay.
what it is.
And Timothy Travis, I see you saying people are getting tired of Tim playing devil's advocate. I'm just simply here to talk about the accomplishments of President Trump. It can't be all bad.
Tell me. You know what he has to do? What is he doing? He's bringing the damn armies and shit up in blue states. But when you know goddamn good and well, the red states are the ones that are fucking it up.
You're not giving him
mass pew in Mississippi. Where's the guard now then, huh?
You're not giving him any credit at all for just coming up with a ceasefire between Israel and Palestinians?
Oh, here you go with the biggest fluff ever. What's in it for him? To put gold streets in Gaza?
It doesn't. You know something. If you're ending war that might save my life, I don't give a damn what's in it for you. I'm giving you credit for doing it.
He hasn't done shit. Something's in it for him. I'm sorry, Tim. I'm taking your cock out your mouth and making out later. I'm sorry, but you know what? No, you are come to you will come to the black side, or you keep your black ass in the white side.
I want you to listen to the president.
No, I really don't want to hear
You need to listen.
his ugly ass now. I really don't. I truly don't.
I
You
think
ratty raccoon.
I think you're in a standpoint, or you're in a position where you're not going to get this man credit for anything. Like they say, he can cure cancer.
Why would I give him credit? That he knows.
I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish.
Oh my God.
Wait, say that again.
You're so special. He will not. He won't do something unless something is in it for him. Something is in it for him, like turning Gaza into a strip club.
Well, you
turning
do
into a resort.
understand that's how politicians operate. They all only do shit when it's something. What's so special about what he's acting like everybody else? He's following the rules of politics.
Did Biden go and say he's going to turn Gaza into a club or a resort? No, he did not, you dumbass.
All
He
that
was
money,
stopping the boom.
all that money Hunter Biden was making. I want you to hear this.
I'm signing a presidential memorandum to establish the Memphis Safe Task Force, and it's very important because of the crime that's going on, not only in Memphis, in many cities, and we're going to take care of all of them. And step by step, just like we did in D.C., we have virtually no crime in D.C. right now. This task force will be a replica of our extraordinarily successful efforts here, and you'll see it's a lot of the same thing, although the numbers here are really something. They're really bad. Now, we did send FBI in about 4 months ago to work, and it brought some of the numbers down, and they did a great job, but we're sending in the big force now. We also sent them into Chicago on a sort of a moderate basis.
Lowering crime in major American cities. What say you?
Okay, you know what, dumb? Okay, dumb. You're fucking special ed dropout. I think you were interbred. Your mama doesn't know who your daddy is.
What the hell?
You're such a fucking interbred motherfucker. You really fucking are. Let me tell you something. The crime was going down anyways without his little help. And the crime is still there. So what is it out? What, Tim? Chicago doesn't have that much crime. Not as bad as what, you dumbass?
There are people in those cities that are thanking him for sending the National Guard.
Oh, yeah, the Trump maggots. Yeah, I give them props. Let them do the shit then. The Trump maggots are the ones that are going to be begging when the damn Democrats fold. Their little shit's going to go sky high. All right, you know what? You know what? We're crashing right now. Our stock markets are going to hell and back right now. Is that a good economy, you dumb fuck? Hell no.
Well,
what do you want to give him credit for? Our economy's going to fucking hell. He only put 100% tariff right now on China for November 1st. His little taco ass.
Real talk in the comments. How do you respond? Real talk says low IQ people use insults. What say you?
You know what? The low IQ's the one that's kissing his fucking ass. The low IQ's the one that's giving him BJ's every goddamn night and sucking on his uncooked meat. And you know what? Like he even told his own fucking maggots. The smart ones are pissed off at him. That says a lot, doesn't it? Doesn't that say a lot? No. He's calling you motherfuckers dumb as hell, you dumb fuck. And you're still jacking off to him. Oh, yes, master. Yes, master. And you got a big fluff ass over here with the chains, too. And a big old smile on his face saying being a fucking house ninja.
Okay, this has nothing
white man.
I mean, I don't know why you're bringing race in this and all of this. The man is trying to...
This is about race, you dumbass.
The man...
Let's get it. This is all about fucking race. What he's doing in Chicago, what he's doing in Portland is about race. What, you think he's going to the white governors? What the fuck? Where's the white governors at then?
The man promised to do things to make this country better, and people voted him in.
The man promised the Triple K in office. Yep, that's what we got. The man did. You know what? The fucking maggots didn't want to listen to a black woman. Everything a black woman said was going to happen is happening. And your black ass is still kissing a white man's ass. Yes, master.
She was a bad candidate. Kamala Harris was a bad candidate.
No, she was. Oh, you know what? I'm about to be. I swear to you, I'm going to be up there. I'm going to be up there in Chicago very soon. I'll find your black ass and I'll beat your ass. How about that? And I'll put that on my set.
Why you putting things on?
Look at ass.
Why you got to put a nice cordial meeting between us on your set?
Because I'm so sick of your ugly ass over here saying that she was a bad fucking candidate and you fucking hating on. But I bet you won't say that shit about a white woman.
What the hell does this got to do
You
with race?
fucking ass.
Why do you keep bringing race into this?
Because it is about race. Well, you just said that she wasn't a good candidate. She was the best damn fucking candidate. She did. She outdogged his fucking sorry ass. She was a prosecutor. I did. She was everything that she should have been. She was a vice president and she knew what the fuck she was doing. But then your sorry ass said, oh, she wasn't a good candidate. Yes, she fucking was.
Couldn't
The
even.
Democrat Party threw her ass underneath the bus.
She couldn't even
Don't
answer.
don't do it, Tim. I shit you now. I'll find you up there.
She
And I'll beat your ass in front of everybody. How about that?
She couldn't even answer some of the simplest questions.
She did answer the question. But you know what it was, though, Tim? The uneducated couldn't comprehend it. Couldn't comprehend the answers, you dumbass. She answered all the fucking questions. Oh, yeah, I guess you couldn't comprehend because you have 5th grade level of the education. Well, I'm sorry, Tim. The education system fucking failed you. But yeah, she answered all the questions. But they couldn't understand it because they're so fucking dumb. They didn't graduate. They're interbred, just like you. Your mama should have taught you better.
This ain't got nothing. Look, let me say this as clear as I can. Bad candidate. She was a bad. This woman right here.
Bad.
This woman was a bad candidate.
She wasn't bad.
Bad
You
candidate.
just couldn't comprehend. I'm sorry, Tim. You couldn't comprehend a fucking education of a woman. You couldn't comprehend a black woman telling you something and she was going to stick to her word. You couldn't comprehend that. I'm sorry. But if a white woman told you, I bet you'd be on your knees.
This ain't got. Why the hell does race keep?
Because it is. It is about race. It is. Everything they did to that woman.
Okay, apparently TikTok does not like my last guest. Gangsta Grandma, you're always welcome back on the program. TikTok took her off. Obviously, they didn't like her language. We'll move the program on. Normally I tell my guests to appeal if you get knocked out. Then there's no chance of her winning an appeal because there was a lot of quotes in there that probably would not. So she'll be down for a day or two. But anyway, tap the screen. Get the likes on up. By the way, I need your help on YouTube if you're watching as well. Smash that like button. We don't block, ban, or censor. A lot of our programs are critical of President Trump. He's in the hot seat. He's doing a lot of controversial shit. Today, we want to take it from the other end. Let's talk about things that are perceived as accomplishments. We're talking about President Trump, the good stuff today. Obviously, it's not popular with a large portion of my audience, but folks understand this is a free speech program. What do we say every day? We don't block, ban, or censor. We go left of Bernie Sanders to having dinner with Q. Smith Nathan says she clowned me out. Yeah, she didn't. Look, Gangsta Grandma is a very passionate caller, and we don't have any problem with that. She has a lot to say. She can be a bit. She can be a bit critical at times. I refer to her as my favorite insultant. That is my insultant. So I have to talk to my insultant occasionally, but it is what it is. She does not believe President Trump has done anything good. She does not believe President Trump is what is right for America. And there's a lot of you folks that probably feel the same way. Nevertheless, that is why we're all here. We got plenty of folks on the right, plenty of folks on the left. That's how we run the program. By the way, we are currently on X and Instagram as well. Anyone, you folks watching on YouTube, you wonder how can you actually be a caller like my last caller you heard? Come on over to Instagram, X, or TikTok, all under the same name, The Handsome Liberal. Same platform name across all of these. We're currently live on all of those platforms, by the way. X, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. He didn't do shit, says Kevin. Well, President Trump did make a few. President Trump has done things. As I stated, 77 million voted for him. Many say that they would still vote for him again. How could you suggest that nearly a year in the office now, he hasn't done anything? He's made some accomplishments. I'll let him tell you.
Records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. Think of that, ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down, listen to this please, 99.999%. Think of that, 99.999. 3 people got in.
Tell me he was not voted in to do that. He was voted in because folks perceived the border under Biden to be a mess. 99.999% of border crossings were down. Only 3 people got in. He's being comical there, but that's what he was voted in to do, is it not? Someone made a comment. Easy Take says, my guy, you are 102% African with a 2% margin of error. Trump and the elite have their own club and you are not invited. True. I'm not going to disagree with that. But I don't believe that I would be invited to a lot of liberal. You think Nancy Pelosi is going to let me in her club? So it happens on both sides of the fence. It does happen on both sides. I don't think I would be invited to a Nancy Pelosi gathering. You can do Spotify as well. That's how Joe Rogan made big bang. All right, T2, I will absolutely remember you said that and take that in consideration after the show is over. If your stock has gone down, then you don't put all money in the stock market, says Rose Hanks. Going back to the box, though, tap the screen. Get us on up to 25,000. We'll take the next call at 20,000. Looking in the comments real quick. Her set is set of teeth. You're referring to my last caller. Oh, my Lord. She might be the illegal migrants that are receiving full benefits. Take it away. Okay, I'm going to leave it alone. Where is the healthcare plan? Where is the money we save from the tariffs? What about Doge? Well, I don't think Trump really even campaigned this time on doing much to improve healthcare. Last go round, it was repeal and replace Obamacare. He didn't even campaign about improving healthcare this time. So I'm with you though, King. He should have, but he didn't even campaign on that. Now, when you say where's the money saved from the tariffs, it's still in the infant stages. Same way with Doge. I mean, the money saved from Doge could have been used to pay down the deficit, could have been used to purchase these new F-47 jets. It's still in the infancy stages. So we'll see. He should have to explain that. I agree with that. But it just happened. So you got to get a good time. He just been in there. He just got in there. We will never see a dime of that. Come on, man, says Gary. So, by the way, tap the screen. Get your boy likes on up to 25,000. We'll take the next caller at 20. Continuing on looking in the comments. I know it's a difficult show. This is a little bit different than what we do. But I do want to tackle this from, and I knew when I was doing the study to come up with this show, I'm like, this shit is not going to go well among the liberals. The left is not going to like this. It is what it is. By the way, I'm trying to reach that TikTok cap goal. Help your boy out. Support the show. You see that up there. Help your boy reach that TikTok cap goal. Everything comes out of Trump's mouth is a lie, says JJ. The border is secure, though. That's not a lie. He did broker a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians. That's not a lie. Even when he stated that the actual recipient of the Nobel Peace Prize yesterday called him and stated that he was the one that should have got it and that she accepted it in his honor. That actually happened. I fact-checked that. So everything he's saying is not a lie. That's 3 examples I just gave you right there of things Trump has said that is absolutely true. The Nobel Peace Prize recipient contacted Trump and stated that he should have received it and she considers receiving it in his honor. That actually happened. V128-12582. Appreciate the TikTok cap. Shout out to you. Thank you. I want a percentage of everything that he's trying to sell while he's been in office. Shit, I do too, AT. I do too. Listen, if people are buying it, they're buying it. I guess I'm kind of guilty with these beautiful MAGA hats that I'm purchased from his site. Get over it, whining baby, says John. So maybe the liberals are doing a bit too much whining. Tap the screen, get us up to 20,000. We'll take the next caller. Now fact check why she said it. Fact check why she said what. Let me know. He don't deserve that he is on the Epstein list. That hasn't been proven yet. There's no proof that Trump is on the Epstein list. Tim, why don't you talk about the U.S. Treasury giving $20 billion of your money to Argentina? No fan of it. But listen, at the end of the day, all politicians are going to divert our money to causes and countries that we disagree with. That is not something that is unique to President Trump. Just like when we were giving, weapons and things like that to the Ukrainians, the folks on the right didn't agree with that. Okay, now money's going to the Argentinians. The folks on the left don't agree with it. And the next guy that comes after Trump, guy or gal, most likely a guy, is going to divert money somewhere that whatever the opposing party, they're not going to like it either. That's kind of how it works. That really is kind of how it works. I'm certain that Obama was accused of giving money or diverting money to causes that people didn't agree with. George W. Bush and Joe Biden. It's just kind of what happens. Tim talking with common sense today says real talk. Okay, we're trying. We were assisting our allies at a time of war, not the same. Ukrainians are really not American allies. They were not allies when that broke out. Listen, we had a kind of like a good association, but the Ukrainians were not considered American allies when Russia invaded them. They were more like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's kind of what the Ukrainians were like. We weren't on a good standing with them. We were not on a bad standing with them. But the moment a country that were our adversaries attacked them, well, then this is the chance for us to deliver a blow to the Russians. So we suddenly became friends like to the Ukrainians. If some country got into a war with China, some country got into a war with North Korea, it doesn't matter if we had zero relationship with them completely. We would suddenly be friends with them because we do not like North Korea. We do not militarily like China. So we would jump into it on the side of the opposition, and it would be a proxy war of sorts. That's kind of always the way it's been. If some country attacks America, you're going to have China and Russia and North Korea probably assisting that country. That's kind of how proxy wars work. Tap the screen. We said at 20,000, we're almost there. We'll certainly go to the next caller because we knew it would not be our allies. I don't get what you are incorrect. We were looking with newly elected Zelensky to fight long-standing corruption. We favored Zelensky over the previous dictatorship in the Ukraine, but we didn't consider the Ukrainians as an ally. We liked the fact that they put somebody in there that might not be pro-Russia, but they were not considered an ally. The Ukrainians were not considered an ally. Not that I'm aware of. They certainly were not part of NATO. There was some talk about possibly doing it, but I don't know if we would consider them. I don't know if we had considered them a total ally just yet. WR Whiskey Romeo. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Insurance is going up because of freeloaders, and taxpayers are paying for it. Says, I'm just going to go with fat. I don't see what the first part. Fantony? Good evening, WR, if the box brings him up. Good evening.
What's going on, Tim?
Not much at all. We talk about President Trump, the good stuff. Accomplishments of the current commander-in-chief. What say you?
I had to come up here. You know I drive trucks, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And I've been listening to you for 2 years straight. And when
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, when Trump was elected, I used to listen outside the box. I never came inside the box because when he was elected the first time, you leaned a little more redder, or your callers was a little more redder.
Yeah.
So I ain't never come in because everything they was talking about, it kind of pissed me off. So I'm off, my 2 days off. This is my last day. This is my Sunday right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm listening to you, and I was surprised to see you kind of early today.
Yeah, there's a couple games I want to watch later.
Yeah, I had to come in though, because I listen to Gangsta Grandma all the time, and I gotta lean her way too.
Really?
On certain things, because one thing what Gangsta Grandma trying to tell you is, okay. Let's just, everybody on the panel, just clear your heads a minute so you can think. Okay, if you were in slavery for 300 or 400 years, okay, and then that master who, over all them plantations where everybody got rich at, they said, okay, goddamn, we finna let y'all ass free. We gonna let y'all ass free. We rich. We rich already. We don't need y'all no more. Y'all going about y'all own lives. Okay? So we looking at the same thing today.
Wait a minute. You're comparing the Trump administration to slave man. Okay, land your plane. Go ahead and give me the rest of it.
No, I'm trying to talk because everybody said a lot of things on here. So I'm just trying to my on that thought right there. My thought right there is we still on the plantation, Tim.
What?
We still on the plantation. It ain't got rich for us. Well, Trump ain't done no good. Trump I'm not giving him credit for ending no war. You know why? Because he ain't no war. The people had to put pressure from the United Nations, and they had to go have them separate meetings without America, without Trump, to end this stuff, because he know if he don't step in right now, he's gonna look like shit, because they're gonna help them. They are gonna help them. Okay.
I think you're wait a minute. You're bringing up slaves and plantation. Trump ain't got nothing to do with that stuff.
I'm not saying that.
Then why'd it come up?
That's not no, because you keep saying people bringing in racism. It's still about racism, Tim. It's still about racism right now.
When you wait.
You know why? Because hold on, Tim. He get a jet from these people we ain't supposed to accept it from. He's gonna let them come over here and build whatever they want to build, to do whatever they want to do with the military. Okay? But he's still sending immigrants back. He's going to get what that look like. That look like only the rich people can come in here. You know what we in. You know we in authoritarianism.
I don't know.
Support these people. Support these people under free speech.
I don't know where you. I don't know where.
Free speech platform you got.
You lost me when you started saying we're still at the plantation and things like that. I mean, when you think about how African Americans were treated and how they lived when they were on the plantation, how are you going to make that comparison under the Trump administration?
I'm going to make it, Tim. I'm going to make it. You know why? Because they won't raise the minimum wage, so you won't have to live check by check every week. You still on the plantation, Tim.
Two things. Two things.
Go ahead.
First of all, the people working for the minimum wage are not just black. Second thing is there's a hell of a lot of African Americans, including myself, that make way more than the minimum wage. Most Americans don't make the minimum wage.
I make more than
then why bring it up?
What? Let's take the word minimum wage out. Just take the word minimum wage out. Okay? Just say I make this a certain amount a week. Is that still getting you by every week without having to stress? Your dog gets sick, your bird gets sick. I got birds. They get sick.
No, I don't.
Know what I'm saying?
Look, I don't disagree with you. I don't disagree with you that people are struggling and the cost of living is up. But that doesn't apply. That's not just black people. That's everybody.
And then if Jesus called me, if Jesus called me to run this country, you know what I would have did?
What?
Just like I said I would do. End the war the first day.
Wait.
I would end the war on the first day. Trump, when he came in office, he was going to end the wars the first day. Jesus ain't saying nobody like that.
Well,
he said that.
I get that. I get he overpromised and exaggerated, but he was trying to make every effort to end the war. I mean, he was announcing it and being transparent every step of the way that he was trying to end the war.
No, he wasn't. Only reason we heard this is because we got social media. Why the news? Why the world ain't getting this? Why the world ain't getting on the news? Everybody, you already know this man is spreading propaganda to his base.
Listen.
To grow his base bigger. I can get into a lot of other things.
Okay.
But he's spreading propaganda. He shut down the news media. Why, Tim? Because in a little while, even the people who voted for him that don't look like me, you know what I'm saying? They're going to feel the shit. Just like the Great Depression. I was just looking at American Pickers. I know you know what that is. American Pickers, they go around and pick junk. The Italian guy say, hey, man, my family saved everything. You know why? They had houses. They was rich. They had bakeries. But all of them had to come live in that same house because the Depression hit.
I don't know. Okay. I think you may be painting Trump in a much worse light than he deserves, at least right now.
And I see why he messing with Why he messing with the Smithsonian Institute? Why he trying to take all Black history stuff away? Come on, man. Stop helping these people promote their propaganda. That's what you're doing, man, when you do this.
Okay.
And I love you, man.
Appreciate it.
But that's what you're doing.
I'm not a fan of what's going
You're
on.
gonna lean one way, you're gonna lean the other way, or you're just gonna be I know you said your platform is you. I know you.
My
debate-
platform is free speech. My platform is free speech. This
But we don't have free speech no more, Tim, and we're gonna lose it because of people like you letting people come on your channel talking about free speech. That's a lie.
wait,
Stop
hold
the
on.
damn lies,
Hold on.
man.
WR, this channel has been pro free speech and Boost
I
Coyote.
know that,
Hold
but
on,
that
Boost
don't-
Coyote.
Hey, bro,
Okay, hang on.
America
Let's have a conversation.
America-
Let's have a conversation. You're talking about
Okay,
Boost
okay.
Coyote. Now, Boost Coyote is saying this guy should join the circus. I hope you're joining the circus. Now, the free speech part, I know Trump has made some threatening comments about free speech, but right now you do have free speech. You haven't lost your freedom of speech right now.
It don't. Everything moves slow. It's just like stagflation. Look at your toilet paper. Go buy the same Angel Soft in the go buy the Angel Soft now. It ain't as soft. It's soft, but it tear up now when you wipe your ass.
I didn't
Go
know.
buy a hamburger. Go buy a hamburger from McDonald's, and look how smaller. It shrank a little bit. It don't look like it. Look how smaller that little double cheeseburger is. You know, I went and brought from Jimbo's last night. My mama's birthday. She 80. I think she's 87, 86, 87. We went and ate the little pulled pork sandwich. It looked like a slide.
It's called shrinkflation. It's called shrinkflation. Deacon Holmes
Shrinkflation.
Deacon
And you
Holmes,
got
yes,
stagflation.
well,
But I'm talking about stagflation. What you talking about is say you still got your freedom of speech. Yeah, for now, cause stagflation.
well, I'm just simply saying
Stagflation ain't just with groceries and prices and everything. Stagflation.
until
If
you
look at it-
lose freedom of speech, what you're saying is just an accusation. Deacon Holmes says, "Why do black folks always cry about being victims?" What say you?
Why do black folks cry?
Why do black
is
folks-
he white? That's a white man.
I'm assuming he
Is that
ain't
white?
black. I'm assuming he's
All
not
right, but
black.
tell him to go kick some rocks and figure it out his own damn self. Tell him to skim some oyster shells across the river and count them how many times he can skip them. I ain't got time for them. I don't get into that. I don't feed them foolishness, bro. Because it's crazy as hell.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Let me ask it to you this way. Has Trump done anything at all good for America that you could give him credit for? Anything?
Only thing I'm gonna say, if Trump reverse his role and start and reverse everything he did, maybe he would have done something good. But all that bad can't account for one good goddamn thing. My mama used to always tell me that. My daddy always told me that. Cause you did one thing good, you need to do everything good. You want to have integrity. You want people to look at you and say, hey, that's a nice person. Or you want people to look at you and say, look at that bum. Look at that hobo.
I got 77 million people.
Look at that hypocrite.
I
Don't trust him.
I got 77 million people that would disagree with you.
I got.
Less.
Come on, man.
You got
I wanted to
less.
talk about that
You
too.
got
I wanted
less.
to talk about. That's what I wanted to talk about. I'm happy you said that. Them 77 million people is not really 77. It might have been 67. I'm gonna tell you that now, cause if it wasn't, he wouldn't be trying so hard right now like he did the first time. And then with the voting booths, with making all these laws where women can't vote. Now they want to get that purple and opal. You know what that is? Purple and opal.
I've heard about it.
The purple movement is when women in the 20s couldn't vote and their husbands had voted for who they wanted to, but the women didn't have the right. They had a pendant. It was a purple heart with opal rings around it, and they wore it. The husbands didn't know what it was. You know why? Because they had to go. They was the resistance. They wanted their rights. Now they done fucked up Now they want them again, and they want everybody to come help them.
Yeah, but give me an example of how women are not losing rights under Trump. What rights are women
Come on,
losing
man.
under Trump?
He done changed the criteria. You know this.
Give me an example.
He changed the criteria for women to vote. Now they make it harder. They got to go get their last name. If they can't have their husband name, they got to. Come on, man. How many people going to do that? How many people getting old? And how many people are really up on technology? Except this new generation, they trying to usher in with CK, the same thing. The same thing.
I got.
Yeah.
When you're talking about women in voting, I got Peggy Rose, who obviously is a woman. Peggy Rose says women can vote. He isn't stopping them. So what are you talking about?
You just gotta wait and see. Just like when your groceries run low. Tell Peggy when her groceries run lower and her Acom bill and her premiums for insurance and everything double, and you can't afford it. When they take away or cut the Medicare and Medicaid, and you can't take care of your people that's in the hospital and nursing homes, tell her to go skin some shells across the river, just like I told that other dude.
I'm just gonna say this.
That's how we lost the election, because we wasn't focusing on when they was doing all that backhand stuff with the voting machines and all that. Votes burning, people burning ballots and
How do you respond to ain't no way in the comments says that you're speaking purely out of emotions driven by media. How do you respond to that?
I'm speaking out of Black history, because I'm living in my grandmama's house, and she had it for 1932, and it wasn't nothing but woods around here. And now I see the gentrification coming in. When they move Publix in your neighborhood, bro, when they tear down the projects and move Publix in your neighborhood, it's a change of time. So tell them to just watch for the subtle stuff.
All right.
Maybe I ain't answer her with the way she wanted me to answer her. And that's okay, because I don't even play with them no more. I'm done with that.
All right.
We got to focus on what's going on in this next election. We got to get up there and vote. The man ain't done nothing good. He did more bad than he did good. He gonna let the rich aliens in and give them something and take their airplane. People we ain't even friends with come down here and do what they want to do, but he gonna kick everybody else out. And if they can't see that, they wide eye shut.
Eyes wide shut. You're talking about eyes wide shut. WR, I do got to move it on. I appreciate you coming through.
All right, man. I love you.
Appreciate it. My door's always open to you, man. Good talk. Thank you. By the way, folks, tap the screen. Help your boy get that TikTok cap go. I know this is a tough show for a lot of my viewers. I get it. We're talking about the good of President Trump. And my last caller was correct, but because he said he used to, he's been watching the Biden administration, obviously, and he is correct. We did have far more right-leaning viewers on the show during the Biden administration, because I criticize what's going on. We talk about the issues of the day. And when Biden was president, obviously Biden was in the crosshairs, and there was a lot of criticism to the economy and the border and things like that of President Biden. And the show had far more MAGA, far more conservatives and Republicans on it than it does now, because Trump is president and now he's in the crosshairs and he often gets criticized. And once he started getting criticized, MAGA went away and liberals happily came on. But I do want to be able to critique all candidates. I want to have a free speech show. I let you guys critique even the host. Critique folks in the comments. That's how free speech works. A lot of folks only want to hear politics that agrees with them. That's not the type of program we run. You're going to hear shit that you like, shit that you don't like. That's how free speech works. What do we say? We go left of Bernie Sanders to I'm having dinner with Q. Everyone gets to speak. Everyone gets to speak. So a little different than what you might be used to. Nevertheless, I do appreciate the few hundred of you folks that are here. We might have collected maybe 1,000 people. Anyway, tap the screen, get the likes on up to about 35,000, and help your boy get that TikTok cap go. I appreciate that. Thank you for the follow. Ain't no way, 1978, Gen X, appreciate that. Don't you were wearing a dress this live. Pizza lover. No, you're not going to see me wearing a dress. I'm not. We don't do those kind of gimmicks here. No need for me to change my gear like that. MAGA 2028 says Tink 79. I don't know, Tink. With so many folks talking about President Trump's health, I don't know if he'll be. Look, the man is 79 years old right now. He'll be 83 at the end of this term. You're suggesting that Trump in 2028 will be capable of being a viable commander in chief from the age of 83 to 87 when he's already turning colors now. That ain't gonna happen. I don't care how great Trump is at running the country, in your opinion, whatever the case may be, but that ain't gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. Trump is not gonna be a viable presidential candidate from the ages of 83 to 87. It's just not gonna happen. Now, that's not to say that he wouldn't be capable of winning the election at 83. There's a lot of MAGA that still like the guy, but it's just not gonna happen. I don't believe it's going to happen. I mean, he's having health problems now. You expect him to be around for the next 7 years? Not going to happen. I think you guys have said too much about Biden for a little bit of karma not to come back. Looking in the comments, though, thank you for explaining to those that don't understand how actual free speech is supposed to work. Appreciate the acknowledgement there, Max. Thank you. He's not a viable human now. Jonathan, no, this says Justinian the Great. He said he's not a viable human now. Well, like I said, 77 million people say otherwise. Jared Kushner, 2028. You know something? I think that, what's up with Marco Rubio, JD Vance? You put Jared Kushner? Wow, Jared Kushner. Huh? Tap the screen, get us on up to 35,000. We'll take the next caller there. I will say you do what some Republicans, the handsome conservative, your comment got chopped off. Let me know what the rest of that is. Help your boy get that TikTok cap goal. I know how this program is. It's probably going to be hard as hell here. There's not a lot of folks that favor the way this is being ran, but support the program where you can. It helps out. Looking in the comments here real quick, I want to make sure I didn't miss any. Oh, I did miss a super chat here if I can read it. Wow, he lives in his grandma's basement, says Boss Boost Coyote, not Boss, Boost Coyote, in reference to my last caller. He did say that. I don't know if he was actually meaning that. You're black and you like Trump, says Jacob. Well, no, being honest, I lean left of center. If you watch the show frequently, you got to watch it a little bit more. But I do want to talk to the folks because we're talking about the good of Trump. Living in my grandma's house, shit, says Co-op Cooper. Hey, Tim, no bluffing today. You mean no fluffing there, Terry Armstrong. Well, I hope we found another candidate other than Vance. And no, we don't need Zionist Kushner. Damn. Battlestar says Tim loves Trump. Let me go back to the box. You're acting less woke, says Where RV USA. Let me go on to the box. By the way, tap the screen. Keep it moving. We need that. It helps out the algorithm when you're smashing that like button on YouTube or on TikTok or even on Instagram. It helps out the algorithm. Brings in more MAGA, but it brings everybody in. That's how the program works. We'll go to the box. Democrats have no leaders. I don't think that's true. You may not favor them, but they're leaders in the Democratic Party. Where RV? Good evening.
Hey, Tim, how are you?
I'm doing good. Good to have you on. What am I getting wrong today?
This may be the longest I've been able to watch your show for a while. You used to be hard on conservatives. You're coming back to the middle, and I appreciate that.
Thank you. Well, listen, I do with a president that had a 77 million voter base, and folks are still saying that he is not only a good president, but some argue he's the best of all time. I do want to have a program from a standpoint of talking about what is there that so many people, millions of people, favor from President Trump. I thought it was a decent topic.
I think, speaking as a conservative, what I'm enjoying is the fact that I've got somebody sitting in that chair that is promoting the 80-20 subjects, right? He is backing the subjects that 80% of the country seem to align with. You know, no women in sports, shutting down the borders, reinforcing law, no wars. Yeah, that's all good stuff. And what I find interesting is that there is still a large group of people out there that fight that are so upset with him as an individual that they can't see the positives.
Yeah. Well, I will say, you know, once you say you hate Democrats, they're not going to give you credit for anything. I mean, even if he deserves credit, I mean, he is on record as saying he hates them.
When?
You never heard Trump say he hates Democrats?
No, because he was a Democrat.
Yeah, that is true. He did. I mean, he used to speak ill of the Republican Party. I think he once said something like the economy is better when Democrats are president, and something. He talked about the intelligence of the Republican Party. Yeah, he said some pretty critical stuff of the Republicans in past, but obviously he's running. Go ahead.
It wouldn't surprise me if he made disparaging comments about Democrat politicians or the media, which, you know, and you can't tell me that both of those environments haven't just run him through the briar patch, right? So,
he's been a controversial figure since coming down the Golden Escalator. I mean, well, actually before that, because obviously he was involved in the birther movement as well with Obama. So, I mean, look, he's been in the mud, so he's going to get a little bit dirty. I mean, I don't want to go off the deep end and make some kind of suggestion that Trump is just a victim and everybody's been attacking. He's also been involved in it as well. I mean, he's launched a lot of attacks himself too.
Yeah, I don't dispute that, but I think in Trump 2.0, the second term, he is taking a stance that you're on one side of the fence or the other. And he is being pretty darn explicit about what side of the fence he's on. And I think, quite frankly, he's trying to expose the people that are arguing for the other side of the fence and how illogical that is.
In some cases, but other cases, you know, like I always say on my program, I'm about free speech. So if you have a different opinion, I try to refrain from calling you illogical. I mean, look, everybody's not going to agree. I mean, I don't know what's going on in your life totally. You don't know what's going on in my life totally. So I may have an opinion that is completely different than yours, but it may be relevant to what's happening in my life. So sometimes I just favor hearing the person out. That's been the motto of this show since I started it several years ago, is we don't talk down the guests, because you don't know what's going on in somebody's life. So if you're Trump and somebody don't agree with what you are doing or what you are saying, you got to understand that what you're doing and saying may be detrimental to them living their life. I mean, there's a reason why they may disagree with you. It might be, you may be doing something that's personally hurting them. So I don't want to call people to logical, but I want you to hear this though, and we'll continue talking.
Now, I got to tell you, I want to thank Republican congressmen and women, because what they did is incredible last night. And the Senate, the Republican Senate, we got, not with all of the things we did with the tax cuts and rebuilding our military, not one Democrat voted for us. And I think we use it in the campaign that's coming up, the midterms, because we got to beat them. But all of the things that we've given, and they wouldn't vote only because they hate Trump. But I hate them too, you know that? So it's sort of the...
Say that again?
So that makes my point 100%. Who did I say he was disparaging? Democrat politicians.
Yeah, but you also got to take in mind, okay, let's say Trump stands for the Second Amendment shall not be infringed. So if a politician says, I hate Trump because he votes in favor of the Second Amendment not being infringed on, what do you think the voters that support Trump are going to feel like? because they agree the Second Amendment shall not be infringed on too. So they're going to say if I say I hate politicians that believe the Second Amendment shall not be infringed on, people, citizens, voters, constituents that also believe the Second Amendment shall not be infringed on are going to take that as a direct insult to them because they also agree with it. So when he says he hates politicians, the people who put those politicians in to represent them, that's a direct insult to them because they think the same way that the politicians do.
Okay, I won't disagree with you there.
Yeah.
So by that same truism, if the side you're supporting is calling the other side fascist, Nazis, racist, homophobes, Islamophobes, you name the phobe, right? Does that not mean that those followers are going to feel about us that way?
They do. They actually do.
Exactly.
Yeah, they do. But here's the
Hey, real quick, I can tell you though, Tim, I'm not a racist. I'm not a homophobe. I'm not an Islamophobe. I am definitely not a fascist. I'm not Hitler, right?
Okay.
But yet we all conservatives now are branded with those labels, which automatically prevents communication.
Yeah, but hang on a second. You do understand how politics works. I mean, a leftist could say, okay, you said I'm not a racist, I'm not a homophobe, and even though I'm being, it's wrong to brand me this stuff. A leftist could easily say I'm not a socialist, I don't hate America. I mean, look, that's what happens when you get in politics. The left is branding the right as racist and homophobes. The right is saying Democrats hate America and saying equally offensive stuff. That's how politics works. The difference is the president, whose job is to bring us together, does not jump in the mud with the people. The president is the one that normally stays away from that stuff. If I'm left, I'm gonna let Rachel Maddow or somebody do that. If I'm right, I'm gonna let the late Rush Limbaugh or somebody do that. I don't supposed to be doing that as the commander in chief. That's kind of the difference with Trump.
Right. So you don't think when Biden said that conservatives are a danger to democracy, or when Obama said that Republicans are racists, did that also get your ire?
I don't believe Obama. I remember Biden saying, like an island of garbage in regards to the Madison Square Garden performance. I don't recall hearing Obama say that Republicans are racist. I'd have to see that one. I know Hillary Clinton talked about deplorables. I remember Obama saying they cling to their Bibles and guns, but the racist comment, you got to show me that one. I haven't seen that.
Okay, well, I would encourage you to Google it and see if it shows up. I could be mistaken. I'm 70 years old, so
it happens. It happens. I mean, I would be, like I said, I'm if he said that, I'm really surprised I haven't heard it yet. I mean, because I can remember everything from talking to Joe the plumber on down. If Obama says something about people being racist, all Republicans being racist, that would be a substantial statement. I cannot imagine having not heard that.
Do you remember Biden saying that Republicans were a threat to democracy?
I know he referred to the January 6th protesters as a bunch of white supremacists and racists. I know that one. I know the FBI stated that the largest threat to America was, radical right wing, something to the nature of white supremacy. Under President Trump in 2017, the FBI said something like that. Now, if Biden repeated it, that could be. But the FBI themselves said that. Under President Trump in 2017, they said that.
So I think that we probably have different sources of information, you and I, right? And I would bet my sources promote things that make me frustrated with Democrats.
Yeah.
And I would assume yours promote things that make you frustrated with conservatives and Republicans?
No, because I got to disagree. I got to only agree with half of that. I agree with the part you said about you. I disagree with the part you said about me because I watch a lot of right wing media. Plus, I enjoy talking to MAGA. So, so I get a lot of information from the right and the left. In fact, I watch a lot more right wing media than I do left.
Well, that's good for you because that'll educate you. So Tim, I only came up. I only came up to say I appreciate your stretch.
Thank you.
You, for what I was watching today, you seem to have moderated your beliefs, and you seem to be, at least today, much more open to the world getting better by working together. And so I just wanted to say thanks. I've been watching you for years now.
Thank you.
And I love to see the growth.
Thank you. I will say this: you would see a lot more of that, but we do not just bashing Trump or Biden or anybody, but we do need a leader in there that actually wants to work with both sides together. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like you said, Trump has taken a side. He's not interested in both sides working together. I mean, look, right now the government is closed, and President Trump is on record during the Obama term saying that if the government shuts down, the blame is going to go on the president because it's his job to get the sides to work together. Do you believe he's doing that right now, trying to work with both sides?
Well, I think all but one Republican voted to keep the government open, and 5 Democrats joined the effort. There's not the Republicans can only do so much, right? They have to have 60 votes, and so unless the Democrats are willing to do what they've done in the past, instead of trying to hold the government hostage, this is not going to change.
Yeah, but that doesn't.
I believe
that's not quite answering the question, though. I asked you, do you see Trump? Okay, they're not vote. The Democrats are not voting with the Republicans like they did last time. We get that, but they're claiming there's a reason. That, now we can agree or disagree with what the Democrats are saying, but they are claiming there's a reason why they are not voting that way this time. Do you see Trump is trying to talk to them and work with them?
Now, no. I absolutely think that he is going to leverage this shutdown to eliminate government positions because he can legally.
Yeah.
Right? And so the longer the Democrats want to hold out, the more of government he's going to be able to eliminate. So,
well,
as far as he's concerned,
yeah,
it's kind of their choice.
Well, the thing about it is, and I don't think they're going to come to the table based on them getting rid of government positions, because the belief is he's going to find a way to do that anyway. I mean, Trump came to power firing people. I mean, Elon Musk and Doge fired a lot of people. So if the Democrats work with President Trump to get the government open, but Trump wants to fire people, he's just going to find a different way to do it. So I don't think if that's the goal is to fire people to get the Democrats to come back on board, it's not going to work because they already believe he's going to fire people no matter what.
So I need to correct one thing that you said.
Sure.
He actually fired a very, very small number, under 1,000 people.
Doge?
What he did for the masses, and it was 100,000 of them. He gave them a retirement or an exit package that gave them 9 months of service. And then as soon as the government shut down, that contract came due. And it actually eliminated 100,000 people that had already signed up for that program.
Well, the thing about it is you were told either you sign up for this program or you get fired either way. I mean, let's say, for instance, let's say you're my age. I'm in my early 50s. I could easily work for another 15 to 20 years. He comes along and says, you got to take this package back in January and tell you got to quit now, and we'll pay you till September of this year, I think it was. So I'm going to get paid for 9 more months when I was happy to work for 20 more years. That is firing me. You just fired me. You cut my career short by 19 years or more. I mean, so yeah, that is a termination, even with the severance package.
Well, and that as a conservative, that happens all the time in business.
Okay.
In the business world, if you have a division that is not advancing the company, you at any point in time can issue RIFs and eliminate that whole division if it's not producing, right? Right now, from a conservative perspective, our government is not producing. We are not getting, what conservatives don't think that we're getting our money's worth out of government.
And that is why most conservatives are very favorable to what Trump did via Doge and the firings. I got to move it on. Where are Vito? But good talk. Always open to you.
Tim,
Glad you tuned in, man. Go ahead. I'll give you the last word.
I love you, dude. This is awesome. I'll keep watching. Take care.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for coming through. All right, by the way, folks, tap the screen, get the likes on up. Finally, somebody who didn't go off on me for this type of show today. Tap the screen. Man, we should be around about 50,000 by now. Tap the screen, get the likes up. Randy says the farmers are losing their mind. You know, I've talked to some farmers personally, that are, you know, they're not happy with the Chinese not buying soybean and things like that. They're not liberals, though. They're not. They still are adamant that, look, they believe that at the end of the tunnel, President Trump will get this country back on track. Yeah, the Chinese are not buying soybean anymore. They've made a contract with Brazil. You know, the farmers are struggling right now, but they believe that Trump will not only likely bail out the farmers, the tariffs and things will work out for the best. And they're riding it out. They're riding it out. The farmers I talked to, they're riding it out. And I see the comment, Smooth says, farmers want socialism. Now, everybody wants socialism when it works for them. Yeah. Cody Locks Productions. Democrats want their funding for useless government spending stuff like for USAID. And Republicans are trying to lower spending and just fund the government. This is the Democrats' fault. Shrink the blasted government, or bloated government, rather. Well, we'll see. We'll definitely see. Now, I had a quote I was trying to cue up. We played it the other day, but President Trump speaks differently in regards to government shutdowns. In fact, I think I have what I'm looking for here, because and this is, you know, with President Trump, some of the things that happen now. He has quotes in the past that sound different. This is Trump 2013 and also 2025 right now.
In my opinion, you know, I hear the Democrats are going to be blamed and the Republicans are going to be blamed. I actually think the president would be blamed. If there is a shutdown, and it's not going to be a horrible shutdown because, as you know, things will sort of keep
Well, it's a partial shutdown, right?
If there is a shutdown, I think it would be a tremendously negative mark on the president of the United States. He's the one that has to get people together.
And if it's shut down, it's only going to be, if there's a shutdown, it's only because of the Democrats. And they would really be taking away a lot from our country and from the people of our country.
So that's just two clips from Trump. One is from 2013, so that would have been during Obama's term. And then, of course, the second one you heard is just a week or so ago. So he clearly changed his tune on that. I'm going to just simply say, I tend to agree with his first clip for the simple fact that you are the leader of the country. So your job is, the Democrats are, you know, asking for some shit that they shouldn't get, or asking for, you know, crossing the line or whatever. You're supposed to reach across the aisle, have them both sit down, and, you know, concessions are made on both sides. That's what I was asking my last caller. President Trump pretty much has taken a stance that the liberals are bad for America. Period. So there's no reason to work with them or anything like that. They're bad for America. Either they're going to work with us or run right over them. That's kind of the stance he's taken. And I mentioned that on yesterday's show, is that there really is no incentive for the Democrats to even work with Trump. I mean, you know, he's taking time out to, you know, ridicule Hakeem Jeffries with the sombrero post and things like that. So, I mean, you know, between him and Tim Johnson, every day they're just blaming it on the Democrats. I haven't heard either Trump or Tim Johnson, or not Tim Johnson, Mike Johnson. I have not heard him or Mike Johnson suggests that we've been talking to the Democrats and what they're asking for is unreasonable. We're going to have another meeting with them tomorrow to see if we can meet between and come up. No, they're not even working with them. It's just like, you did this shit last time. You better do it now, or we're just going to shame you into, I guess, finally coming around. And then, of course, President Trump is now firing federal workers, as my caller just stated on my last call. So I don't see where there's any incentive for the Democrats to really sit down at the table. I mean, he's not offering them anything. So this is probably going to go on for a while, in my opinion. Then keep the government shut down. Let's see if he caves, put pressure on Congress, says Chris. I do believe that is the goal. That's the goal on both sides. Both sides are probably thinking, if you keep things shut down, eventually the people will blame the other side and they'll come to the table. If you keep the government shut down, the Republicans are thinking that, the people will eventually blame the Democrats. It'll be bad for the Democrats, and it'll force Hakeem Jeffries and Schumer to come to the table and negotiate. And of course, the Democrats feel the same way about everything, that if you don't work with the Republicans, eventually Trump and Mike Johnson will come to the table. And that's what it seems to be. It's a stalemate. Cody Locke's production says Republicans and Trump have offered temporary spending so they can negotiate, and you're wrong. If you have watched them, they have tried to reach across. I haven't seen it. Okay, if I'm wrong on it, I'll accept that, but I have not seen that, and I have not heard what you're telling me you've heard. If that was happening, I would acknowledge it, but I have not heard that. And Gangsta Grandma, you said you won. What did you win? I have not heard. Oh, you won the appeal. Wow, Gangsta Grandma, congratulations. I didn't expect that. No, I have not heard that the Republicans have offered temporary spending, things like that, what you're saying. In fact, Marjorie Taylor Greene is disagreeing with you, Goldilocks. Marjorie Taylor Greene is even saying the Republicans are the ones that are at fault. Why would she say that? So anyway, let me go back to the box. I bet you did not. Now, Gangsta Grandma, I didn't expect you to win that appeal. It takes 60 votes to pass it takes 60 votes. That's why the Republicans can't do it on their own. However, there is what is referred to as the nuclear option. The Republican Party can reopen the government by exercising the nuclear option without any Democratic support at all. They actually can do that right now. They can do it right now. So it can be done if they really wanted to do it. My humble opinion, it's more currency and value in this to keep things closed. As my last caller said, President Trump wants to leverage the shutdown to get rid of employees and things like that. So I think it's more beneficial to President Trump to keep it closed. There's more time you can bash the Democrats and things like that. So I actually think for President Trump, there's more currency in it for him. At least that's probably the way he perceives it. By, let the Democrats keep it that way. Cody Locke's Productions, a former congressman who was a guest on Tim Pool's show, talked about how they've tried to reach across to the other side. I haven't heard Mike Johnson say that, though. Send me the link of what you got. I'd be curious to see it. Because, normally if the Republicans did try to reach across and the Democrats disagreed, you would normally have Democrats stating, look, they did reach across, but they offered us some bullshit, or this is all they want to do, or this is all they want to cut, or no, because they want to do this or that. I haven't heard the Democrats say anything about them reaching across. And in fact, I haven't heard the Republicans saying that they reached across and offered them anything either. Because normally the Republicans would say, we did offer them this, and they're being greedy, they want more. We tried to cut this, and no, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard either one of those sides say that the other side reached across the aisle. So let me know, Cody, likes what you're talking about. I'm done says they are lying to you. MAGA, wake up. All right, let me go back to the box. And Michael Richardson says, F Orange Man. Lee Hall says, Orange Face Trump. Hope you have union health care benefits, MAGA. Probably not. Oh, says that's sad. Let me go back to the box. Miss Mobetta, good evening. Welcome to the program. Hello, my friend. Is America as mad as the media is portraying it? Depending on what media you're watching, Curtis. Our media is biased depending on what outlet what platform you're getting it from. Miss Mobetta, good evening.
Hi, happy Saturday, Tim.
Hey, you know we talking about the good stuff. President Trump, the good stuff. What say you?
I don't know what you consider good. Now when you ask questions like that, I'm going to need you to define what you say. Define what's good. Because from where I'm standing and for what I see, it's hard to point out his good. And of course, the 77 million that you talk about, everything he does is good. But for the 75 million that was on the other side, it's nothing good. Everything he's doing is costing American citizens. You talking about firing just within the last couple of days, 4,000 more people. Yeah. And that's not including the first 300,000 in his first month in office. Some of them might have got their jobs back. They promised, we'll give them some type of incentive. There's some people who didn't get that. Then you have other people that had to the end of this year to shit or get off the pot with no incentives. Yeah. That's what Trump is doing. If you call that good, then it's good.
When you say you haven't seen any good, I'm going to let Trump talk to you.
Records for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. Think of that, ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down, listen to this please, 99.999%.
Listen to this.
Think of that, 99.999.
Now, he clearly ran on securing the border. Even a lot of liberals and independents wanted that border secure. And by the way, folks, help your boy get that TikTok cap gold. Shout out to those who support. Is that not a good thing?
Tap the screen. Get the numbers up.
Is this not a good thing?
Let's talk about the border. Because when Biden and them did present a bill to the border, guess who shut it down? The Republicans did. And then you know what Kamala and them did? They keep saying they didn't go to the border. Not only did they go to the border, they crossed the border. They taught them how to be self-sufficient in their own country and told them not to come here. Well, now, so again, whose fault really is it? Republicans, they did have the option to shut the border down. Trump told them not to because he did something wrong.
Wait, you're not telling the whole story. And by the way, Josh, I see you in the comments saying Tim Pool is literally a Russian propagandist, proven. So that was my other caller saying Tim Pool was being told that Congress was working with the Democrats. He said it was Russian propaganda.
They're full of cocky. I'm sorry.
No, but what I was going to say, you mentioned the Biden border bill. You know, in the Biden border bill, it still allowed a certain amount of immigrants to come in the country before they shut it down. Trump just shut it down completely. So you're still getting, that's why Trump is saying 99.999%. The border is far more secure under Trump than it was under that border bill.
He's all about inflating things to make himself look big. First of all, even with him sending out the National Guard and ICE all over this place, I want you to prove to me that you're getting out people that are illegal. Because what I see, he's taking people that are actual citizens and sending them places so the families can't even find them. I'm not making this stuff up.
I don't know. I know you're saying you're not making it up, but I have yet to hear of any confirmed American citizen that actually got deported.
We still have confirmed that he's getting rid of any illegals. He's saying people eating cats and dogs and shit like that. Tim, come on.
Okay. The cats and dogs, the cats and dogs thing, I get it, but I don't.
And he says a lot more than that. 99.999% is full of shit. The border will never be closed.
Well, no, it's not 100% closed, but it is certainly more secure than it was under Biden.
So I guess they stood there. 1, 2, 3. You're in. We just 3 people.
The border.
First of all, if people are illegal, number one, how are you catching them? Because they're not on the book. They're not registered anywhere to where you can even find them.
All of them Home Depot folks. We just had a superintendent of schools in the state of Iowa. This African American guy was hired.
He wasn't illegal though.
Yeah, he was. He
might have overstayed his visa. That doesn't mean he's illegal.
It's more than that. And in fact, I got a 30-minute video I've done on him. I detailed this. I went back to his history of the day he came here, All of the times he filed for green. Let me.
I'll have to watch
Yeah,
that.
please do it. It's titled Ian Roberts, How Fraudulent Was This Guy? And I went through his whole life. 30 minutes, because he's filed for green cards, everything. Every time he came back and forth in the country, I covered all of it. And I'll tell you this, there was a deportation order that was stamped by a judge about a year before he got caught by ICE and deported. He was told, you got to go. He didn't advise his employers or anything. He kept working in America with no intention of leaving, even though
So
a
was
judge...
that his fault? Was that his fault? Or his employers? Who hired him?
If a judge tells you you have to leave and you don't leave, you are an illegal. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. However, he was employed. He was a superintendent of a school system. Was that his fault?
Come on now. Okay.
They allowed him to stay here.
No, that's not
They
true.
allowed-
That's not true. When he got the job as superintendent, he was here legally. He ended up having that judge's order stamped while he had that job. So, because he had worker rights. So he was working.
So they have no expiration date on those stamps?
Yes, a
No
year.
stamp.
Yes,
Okay,
he
so
applied for
whose
several
fault
of
was
those.
that?
He applied for
Whose fault was it?
his.
It was not his fault.
That's no-
Again, like Trump said, if you can get away with it, why not? Get
Oh
away
my
with it?
God.
Like he got away with not paying his taxes. That didn't make him illegal. That made him smart.
Okay, then that's a different argument. Trump did say
Okay.
that. Trump did say that.
Okay, it makes you smart. That's what our so-called president said. That's what he said. Right? Am I lying?
But what Trump was doing was using legal loopholes. What Ian Roberts, the superintendent, did was just illegal.
Well, I guess that's why he got 34 felonies on his belt too.
Well,
He was doing legal
you know they say the felonies are a witch hunt.
I'm just saying, Tim. I'm saying.
You know they say the felonies are a witch hunt.
He's a trick. Trump's a trick. He does. Our country's already been sold out. This is for y'all information. Once they start allowing foreign entities to come set up shop on your land, which he claims he's trying to get rid of illegals, but you allow foreign entities, whether they're allies, friends or not, you allow them to come set up shop on your land. You train them. What?
That's not true, though.
You don't think that we're sold out, Tim?
Well, we could certainly have a conversation about the selling out, but they're not setting up shop on our land. We routinely bring entities in the country and train them how to use military equipment that we're selling them. Training Qatar how to use the F-15s we're selling them in Idaho. They're not the first country we've done that for. I've had military vets come on the show and say this has happened before. People who support Biden that have came on the show and said, no, this is something that actually happens. So that happens.
That's how 9/11 happened. Because you bring them over here, you train them, and then they just use it against. All right.
Now you're sounding like Laura Loomer. Now you're sounding like Laura Loomer.
You solved my question. That's how 9/11 happened.
Yeah, that's Laura Loomer said the same thing. I can't look.
And this thing about him, this peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians or whatever.
Is that a good thing?
First of all, it says a temporary ceasefire.
People's lives are being saved.
Number one. Number two, we don't believe anything has happened until they receive all of their people back. You understand what I'm saying? Because I can get up here and say anything. You know what I mean? I will say, oh, well, there's something in the works. Maybe, Trump's, his magic number is 2 weeks. Everything he say is in 2 weeks. So, of course, I'm going to tell y'all because it sounds good. I'm going to tell you, it's in the works, okay? It's in the works.
It don't just sound good.
I can't give him credit until I see those people got there and that Israel won't boom on people again. Because they just boomed them last weekend.
I don't disagree with that, but when you got thousands of folks in the streets in Israel celebrating and yelling, thank you, Trump. And then you got the Palestinians walking and going back to their broken down homes and their feelings. I don't think they're going to go back on it. I mean, I think...
Well, listen, they've already almost leveled that place over there.
Yeah.
If you see what it looks like over there, it's horrible to see kids walking in the street, pulling beds and not just the kids, everybody. You got, what do they have left? That was their intentions. We're gonna level them.
How do you respond to Pizza Lover though? He says you wouldn't give him credit no matter what he does.
Listen, Pizza Lover.
That's a hell of a
Go
name.
somewhere and finish playing with yourself. I don't got time for
Oh my
Next.
God! What's wrong with liking
Go
pizza?
finish
I
playing
like
with
pizza.
yourself.
Pizza sounds good.
No, pizza, that's not good, Tim. And this is some shit that they started. When Q and I say what pizza is a code word for people liking little children.
No way! I don't think he would put
Yeah,
that.
God, don't take my word for it. Go look it up.
Are you
Go
serious?
look it up.
Pizza lover? Is she serious? Pizza lover?
I am dead serious.
Jesus
I'm dead
Christ!
serious. Yep.
Well,
Tell you,
maybe
because
he's
they was accusing Jay-Z and Beyonce and Oprah and all of them for liking pizza. And they said when you see them rocking apparel that has pizza and all of that stuff, they started calling them pizza lovers because they said they were lover of little children.
Well, maybe he likes little children. Maybe he has a history of. Maybe he has a history as a nursery school teacher or something like that, or a babysitter.
Or history of a P3DO.
Oh my God! I don't think the man would get on here and use that.
You'd be surprised, Tim. Go check those people IEP addresses and all of that stuff. Go check them.
Okay.
Whatever you call them.
That's
on now. That's how they people slip through the cracks because they get up here and they talk as if they're normal people and then all in the same time you're looking for people's children and shit on the internet.
Damn. Well, let's get back to the actual topic though.
Yeah.
I mean, look, sitting in the National Guard in U.S. cities, they're claiming that it's safe to walk the streets in D.C. Does it get credit for that?
No. You know why, Tim? Because first of all, he's sending the National Guard to places where there's barely no action happening. You're talking about what's his name? Portland burning, the city burning down, and all of that stuff. It's nothing but propaganda.
Well,
it's
wait a minute.
Propaganda to make so he won't be can't be charged for the shit that he's actually doing.
You said he's sending the National Guard.
Authoritarianism and shit.
You said he's sending the National Guard to places where there's no action happening. You don't think there was a lot of crime in D.C.? That's why he sent the National Guard there. You're telling me that wasn't happening?
You know why he chose D.C. first, right? Because that's the only place he had jurisdiction over. That's just so, all right, let me get this out here. Let me choose DC first because I don't need anybody's permission to go there. So let me choose them first to show them what I want to do. And now I'm going to infringe on everybody else because everywhere he's sending them, all of the people in the state is backing him down. They filing charges on him now because they're signing their own executive orders blocking these people from coming here. Because they're not needed. You don't need the National Guard right now. Where is there any WARs happening in the United States?
Well, the war comment in Portland burning to the ground. That's a bit of an exaggeration, but
he's exaggerating, and like I said, his lies cost lives.
But wait a minute. One thing
not only are you putting your civilians in and kind of turmoil and stuff like that, you're putting your service people in turmoil also.
There's more to this. There's more to
it. People that don't agree with him. There's
more to the story though, Ms. Mobetta. The fact is, the cities that are pushing against Trump sending in the National Guard, they don't give a damn about the safety of ICE. And Trump is saying that they need some sort of backup because they're not even getting help like in Chicago from the police department. So he's sending in the National Guard to help out and protect ICE.
Do you see how ICE is handling people? I'm sure you've seen it because I've seen it. If you're on the internet as much as I am, you've seen how ICE is handling people. They're going in there acting like thugs, that I'm going to do what I want to do regardless of who you are. They're grabbing people. They just snatched up a reporter, an American reporter. These are not illegal people.
Yeah, but I'm also hearing that people are throwing shit and Molotov cocktails and things like that at ICE as well.
That might have happened one time, Tim. One time, one building. Now he want to say that the whole city is burning down. Like you said, an exaggeration is a lie, Tim.
I don't disagree with the exaggeration stuff being wrong, but I mean, when you get reports that the Chicago police has been told not to even show up to back up ICE, What do they have? What other choice do they have? They gotta have some
So
protection.
so then what you do, you fall back and let them handle their own business. You don't just infringe. No, don't. You can scrunch your face up all you want to. If the police department of that city or state or whatever is telling you not to send these people here, then you fall back and you let them handle their own business.
Well, first of all,
You still have to have permission to go and show up at these people's doorstep.
you can't fall back and let them handle their own business because the purpose of ICE is to get illegals out of the country. If ICE falls back, Chicago's not going to deal with it. That's why ICE is in there.
That's an assumption, though, Tim. That's an assumption.
It's a sanctuary city. It's a sanctuary city. It's a sanctuary city. They're not going to do it.
I know they are. But did Chicago call ICE or call Trump and say, "Can you send your people over here? We're having an influx."
No, because they want the immigrants to stay there.
Well, let them handle their own business.
That's not how the law works. That's not how the law
He said
works.
that he was going to turn it back over to the states anyway.
That's not how the law works, Ms. Mobetta. Trump ran on the American people put Trump in there to get rid of illegal immigrants. If Chicago's not going to do their part, then the federal government has to go in and do what the people put Trump in to do. That's why they're there.
But the thing is, if he was doing this to just illegals or people who are here illegal, I'd say okay. But they fucking with anybody just to get their numbers up. So I don't buy into shit that he say because he inflates everything he says. It's all propaganda.
Okay.
Because it makes him look good. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying, but then I have to ask you, why wouldn't Chicago, if Chicago and these sanctuary cities had just done their job, we wouldn't be crying about what ICE is in their cities doing to begin with. They were not doing their job.
We're crying, they're not. We're crying, they're not. Now, if Chicago ends up behind the eight ball because they don't have enough money to support their things, then you'd be like, listen, we tried to offer you help and you denied it.
That ain't what I'm saying.
Understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but that ain't what I'm saying. I'm simply saying that Chicago was not offering sanctuary to people who are here illegally. Chicago would be kicking them out, and you wouldn't have to complain about ICE being in their city because Chicago would be doing their job.
This is where words matter. You have to be careful because they were not offering for illegals. They were saying those are for the undocumented. Those are people that were coming through with asylum. That sort of asylum. They were. It's not. Come on, Tim. Let's be fair about that. Busload. They were sending busloads. They didn't ask for those busloads to come here. They would just sit here. They sent from Texas. Texas was sending them to New York. Yeah. They were sending them to Chicago.
I hear all of that, but the minute
being that they are a sanctuary city, they accepted those people in. But they're not illegals. Those were asylum seekers. They're different. There's differences.
All right. I'm just simply saying when you call yourself a sanctuary city, that means you're offering sanctuary to people who are on the wrong side of the law. Chicago, Portland, New York.
This is another thing I want to point out to you because you know who protects these sanctuary cities, and this is for MAGA that don't know. It's the Christians. It's the Catholic Christian people that are, because you have a lot of people that do want to get rid of them. I understand that. Yeah. They're living in houses that the only place other people are allowed to go is on Halloween, trick-or-treating. Now they're living there. But again, they weren't going after the people that were hiring them and that are keeping them here. You don't hear them going after these companies. You understand? I went to Walmart one time and asked a lady for help, and she couldn't even speak English. So I said, well, who hired her?
I do agree with that part. I got to move it on, Mr. Mobetta, but I absolutely do agree that Americans that hire illegals should be
They hire them. You know why? Because they don't have to pay employee tax. They don't have to pay workers' compensation. They're not paying no health insurance. So it's these corporations that are actually the problem and not the illegals. So you're really going after the wrong people.
Maybe
because if they are not allowed to get any federal subsidies for the people that keep saying that they do not get health insurance. They don't get none of that stuff.
Maybe Trump
undocumented. How you cannot get it.
Maybe Trump will get around to that. He's only been in 8 months. I got to move it on, Ms. Mobetta.
He fucked it up in them 8 months, 9 months too. He's a fuck up. And that's exactly why he doesn't have that Nobel Peace Prize for those who feel that he deserves it. Like I said, they're watching how he's handling his own country. There's nothing peaceful about what's happening here. Even if we do want peace, you're causing chaos, and you got the National Guard against your own constituents. How is that peaceful? How does that deserve an award?
That
doesn't.
remains to be seen. Mr. Mobetta, thank you for coming through. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen, get the likes on up. I know this is a different type of program. You guys are just shaming me. Man, we should have been 70, 80,000. Man, the lazy thumbs in here, tap the damn screen, get the likes up to about 55. We'll take the next Charlie at 55. Obviously, the TikTok cap goal is not going to be met. A lot of folks are pissed off at this show today, but look, we gotta be able to address things from the opposite side. Cody Locks Productions, it won't let me send a super chat to the video I talked about. I think my address is on there. DM me because I want to see the video you're talking about. I would like to see that, Cody Lux. I would absolutely like to see it. It may come up on a future show. And real quick, you also continue by saying Nick Sorter, a reporter, was arrested when he was attacked by Antifa. Then the city police claimed he was an agitator. Sorter is an independent reporter. I haven't heard of that. One of the things I do often wonder, though, in regards to being attacked by Antifa, first thing I want to know is how did they know it was Antifa? Because Antifa's not, they don't carry around a card or an ID or something that says Antifa on it. So when the reporter says he's attacked, because I think I heard that story on a YouTube clip or something like that. I'd just be curious to know how they got the identification of Antifa. I'd like to know how he's identifying them as that. This dude isn't playing devil's advocate, says Salty Colonel. Says this dude isn't playing devil's advocate. He is encouraging discussion, which is what they assassinated Charlie Kirk for doing. Tell me I'm not going to get taken out. Tell me that, please. I am trying to. I do want to spark debate. I do like to spark a conversation. I do believe in letting everybody speak. I don't want to be kirked for doing so. Salty Colonel, please tell me that ain't gonna happen. You think they would make a martyr out of my black ass? Probably not. Would I get a highway named after me? Probably not. So yeah, try to refrain from hanging out on rooftops if you see me out in public. Try to refrain from doing that, okay? Because I don't have a few million followers like that. Tap the screen, get the likes on up, 55,000, make that happen. Looking in the comments though, real quick, I didn't scroll this thing over here for a minute, huh? Defending profiles, PD files. Okay, defending PDF files is crazy. Says paper friend. Wait, there's not solid evidence. Struggling hell by cheaper gas prices, cheaper groceries, cheaper rent, cheaper insurance. Which ones got you down? Are you suggesting that under Trump, we're currently dealing with cheaper gas prices, cheaper groceries, cheaper rent, cheaper insurance? Let me know. Yes, we are struggling because of Trump's personal vendetta. Wake up, you're brainwashed, says B. Are we at 55,000? Tap the screen, get the likes up. A brand new looking social security card is always suspicious. Now, I don't know. I mean, I've had to replace my social security card 2 or 3 times in my life. In fact, I keep it now in a nice little plastic sleeve. It looks decent, so I don't know. His own did that, Tim. We wouldn't do you like that. Thank you for the great. Thank you. So you're saying Kirk lost his life by way of his own people? Well, they're claiming that Tyler Robinson, if his name was, the guy who took out Kirk, they're saying that he was a liberal. Trump said he was a radical leftist. So they're not agreeing with you there. Are we at the 55,000? Let me know. We'll take the next call at 55,000. Looking in the comments, the Democrats are making a problem. You complain about rent. It's too high. Housing is too high. Electricity is too high. Prices, it's all due with illegal immigrants. I don't know if I would agree with that Moonlight Ace, because there's a lot of places where rent and stuff like that are sky high where there's no illegal immigrants residing. I mean, the cost of living in America ain't cheap really no damn where. So I don't know if I would totally agree with that. I can understand if it's in an area that has a lot of immigrants that they're willing to work for cheaper and they're putting tea into a house and shit like that. But there's a lot of places in America where that does not apply. So I don't know if I would blame it all on folks that are here illegally. I might be white as snow, but I respect you, my man, says T2. T2. And T2 is a supporter of the program. Appreciate that, T2. I often see your comments because by you being a supporter, your comments are a different color, so it makes them stand out. Thank you. Stevie D about to drop out. It says Stevie D will lose subscription. Let me continue on. By the way, mine is worn readable, but on edge is definitely worn. Chris, I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you, folks that are tapping the screen. Get the likes on up to 55,000. Continuing on with Matthew Mufasa. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Trump doesn't speak truth. Well, you said he lies every time he talks? Is that what you're trying to say? Don't know if it brought up my last guest or not. Apparently, the answer is going to be not. So we'll go to Mike. Good evening, Mike. Box is having some problems here. Let's see if it brings him up. The Democrats are making it a problem. Oh, I've seen that already. I don't know. I think my system is starting. Am I glitching, folks? Let me know. Information and land with other people possibly having alternative motives. I don't get what you're saying, Bella Scott, because you have to fund them. You have to give them a place to stay who was paying for it in New York in those hotels. It was their American citizens. Well, the problem, Moonlight Ace, is the overwhelming majority of illegal immigrants don't get that stuff. When they bust the immigrants to Chicago and New York, and that was being done, as my last caller rightfully pointed out, by Texas Governor Gavin Newsom and Ron DeSantis of Florida. When they bust all those immigrants to Chicago and New York, they came there in droves like that, a whole busload constantly coming back to back. The governments of Chicago and New York housed them and did put them up in hotels and things like that because they were busting. The goal from the Republican Party was to flood Chicago and New York with immigrants. And they were doing that. They were flooding them with immigrants in the middle of winter. And the immigrants did not know they were going to be sent to Chicago and New York. And they didn't know they were going to be basically kicked off the bus and put on the streets. So Chicago and New York did provide them with hotel rooms and EBT cards and all this other stuff you're talking about. But that's not the norm for people that enter the country illegally. I get folks when they're putting them up in 5-star hotels and they're giving them Obama phones and all that shit. Now, that's just the ones that the Republican Party busted Chicago and New York. That the typical person that entered this country illegally would tell you, when I came here, I didn't get anything like that. That's not how it normally works. When I came here, I had to work for less than minimum wage under the table and stay with my grandma and 8 of her friends. That's what most illegal immigrants start out like. They don't start out in a 5-star hotel with an Obama phone and an EBT card with a $1,700 balance on it or whatever many folks on the right were saying. So there's a lot of exaggerations, off the chain exaggerations in that. What was happening in New York and Chicago was an anomaly because they literally flooded Chicago and New York with a ton of unexpected immigrants all at once, forcing Chicago and New York to act. Otherwise, they're going to have homeless immigrants laying all over the streets, which is exactly what happened. But that ain't normal. That is not what normally happens when somebody comes in the country. Because keep in mind, the immigrants that they sent to Chicago and New York were first in Texas. And when they were in Texas, they were not getting EBT cards and 5-star hotel rooms. They weren't getting any of that stuff. It wasn't until they took them all and bust them up to Chicago deliberately that stuff started happening. So there's a little bit more to it than that. I'm having some problems here, apparently, with me bringing up guests. Just say lies, because that's exactly what it is, says Pink Pineapple. Yeah, it was fabricated. It was fabricated. I'll try it with another caller. I'm having trouble bringing up guests, so I don't know what is going on here. Tell the truth about what's happening. And John Kennedy says, how do you know that, Tim? You don't know what is... Well, I know this because I'm a native of Chicago, and I know what was happening. Not to mention... In fact, I know a lot more about that story than I just told you. Not only was Texas Governor Greg Abbott busing immigrants to Chicago and New York, they were doing it, like I said, in the middle of winter. They were sending them there with no winter clothing. They didn't give them anything. They didn't, I mean, when they kicked them out of Texas, they didn't send them out with $1. They were not helping them at all. They were treating them like garbage. You're here illegally. We want you out of our state. And if Chicago or New York wants to be a sanctuary city, then we're going to send you there. They literally were dumping them out of Texas like garbage. Not only that, but they were sending them to Chicago and New York in the dead of winter. And they didn't have any winter clothes, coats, or anything. And Texas Governor Greg Abbott would not even let the city of Chicago know where they were sending or dumping the immigrants at. Because the mayor of Chicago was like, well, if you're going to send these people here, could you at least let us know where you're dropping them off at so we can meet them with coats and shit like that? It's winter. They didn't even want to tell the city of Chicago. They would just picking a random spot and kicking them all off the bus in the dead of winter. They were doing that. That's why they started giving them hotels and food and shit like that. They were treating them like garbage just to get them out of Texas. So there's way more to that story than that. And there was a bus driver that was one of the guys who was driving them on a bus from Texas to Chicago to do this stuff. And he did an expose news story, and he was hired by the state of Texas to drive them up north. And he said he had a bus full of immigrants. He was told when you pick them up, you cannot stop this bus other than to refuel, and get to your destination. You cannot let anybody off the bus. You have to take them from point A to point B. They do not get off the bus. You only stop to refuel, but when you do, they don't get off. He said that under those conditions, the bathrooms became flooded. Urine was rolling down the aisles. He had to use his own money when he stopped at gas stations, things like that, to buy the people on the bus food. They didn't give him any money to feed those folks at all. You know what? A bus ride from Texas to Chicago or New York is probably going to be overnight. I mean, that's a 900, I think Houston or Dallas to Chicago, I've taken that trip. Dallas to Chicago is almost like 900 and something miles. And that's Dallas, which is in North Texas. If you're in Houston or Austin somewhere further down, it's over 1,000-mile journey. No food. Texas Governor Abbott did not even get a bus driver food for these people. So the bus driver was taking his own cash and buying pizza to feed the immigrants on the bus. As I stated, because he was giving orders that they could not get off, piss and shit was rolling down the aisles because they had went and filled up the bathroom with waste. They're using the bathroom and stuff. You got 60, 70 people that's on a bus, on a charter bus, and they're using the bathroom and pissing and stuff constantly. They can't stop. That's what they were told. You got to get them where they got to go. So the bus driver said, because he was really sad he took that job. He didn't know what it involved. He said that he got close to his destination and all of a sudden received a call and they redirected him. Turns out Kamala Harris over in Martha's Vineyard was home or about to come home or something like that. They wanted to embarrass Kamala Harris, so they wanted to divert the bus from its original destination. I don't know if it was Chicago or New York, but they wanted to divert that bus from that location where they were going to drive them off, and they wanted to instead do it in Martha's Vineyard. They got to Martha's Vineyard. Kamala Harris was not there yet. He had to sit on the bus with those immigrants for 10 hours in a Walmart parking lot. 10 hours. Conditions were right. And according to him, when he got to the drop spot, Fox News and all of them were already there. They made him do all of that. They used those folks as pawns just to embarrass the hell out of the left. So there's a lot. So you say, well, that ain't true. I'm just saying, you can look that stuff up. That story was terrible. What they were doing to those immigrants was terrible. Anyway, Martha's Vineyard got rid of them fast. Well, yeah, but what is the purpose of doing it? So you just want to dump them on the streets of Martha's Vineyard? That was the goal. Just dump them on the streets in the wintertime, in the dead of winter. Just dump them on the streets of Martha's Vineyard. So you can say, well, Kamala Harris ain't doing her job or whatever, and maybe she's not. But the goal is to embarrass Kamala Harris by using actual human beings in the dead of winter. That's what happened. That's actually what happened. Looking in the comments, though, the residents helped them. Yeah, the residents in Martha's Vineyard started helping them out. But yeah, what Texas Governor Greg Abbott did to them were cruel. That was cruel to do that. That was not cool to do that. I get the illegal immigrant thing needs to be dealt with, and I get that the liberals were not as secure with the border, but I don't know if that's the answer for solving it. And I see in the comments, Robert Kennedy said, well, they should have stayed home then. If you don't want to die in the wintertime, then you should rethink about, don't enter America illegally. You need to realize that if you enter America illegally, they might kill you. It's up to you to be more smarter than that. That's what he's trying to say, I suppose. Anyway, these people aren't shit, says Jay Haynes. Anyway, let me go back to the box, see if it's working. But yeah, that's what happened. Jeremy, good evening. Welcome to the program. We speak of left and right. Which channel stream is the priority? We're watching them all. Jeremy, good evening.
Hello, Tim. It's good to see you. Did you miss me?
Why the hell would I miss you? It's always good to talk to you, though.
It's good to see you, Tim. So what's the topic for today? I just dropped in.
We're talking about the good stuff. Everything, the liberals are making it sound like everything about Trump is bad. It can't be all bad, can it?
No, not all of it. Again, I'm not even a Trump supporter anymore, but let's be honest. A broken clock is right twice a day, okay? In Trump's case, it might be 1.5 times a day, but, we give him credit for it.
Well, I got to ask you, considering that you absolutely voted for Trump, give me for the audience at home that may not know, what made you suggest that you're no longer a Trump supporter? Why did you lose support for Trump?
He ran on the Epstein files, my man, and he doesn't want to show them. Well, because he's on them, and come on, let's be so for real. There's no way that's not hella suspicious. Now, I've heard some people defending it, saying the people who were on it don't want it's all their information revealed or something like that. And I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. That's what they say. I don't believe that. And there's also things like when he bombed Iran. Okay, I understand that we have to sometimes intervene, but if you're saying you're going to be a non-interventionalist president, stand on 10 toes and fucking do it.
So you're saying when he said he's going to stop getting involved in overseas wars and things like that, you believe by bombing Iran he broke his promise?
By bombing Iran, by getting involved with the Russia-Ukraine thing, by getting involved in Gaza and Israel, It's okay, look, there are pros and cons to both. I understand we are the most powerful country in the world, so we have to sometimes step in and say, hey, you two stop fighting. Sometimes that has to happen, but sometimes that can lead to tyrannicalness. There's pros and cons to both. But if you're going to say something, stand on it or say you were wrong.
So one of the most common phrases that President Trump normally says is promises made, promises kept. Sound like you disagree.
Yeah. That's why I left. That's why I left the MAGA area. But I'm definitely still a conservative. I'm definitely still to the right. It's not that I didn't like what he had to say. He just didn't mean it when he said it. He didn't. He said one thing and did another.
Well, let me give it to you this day. Here's a Trump supporter, and I want you to tackle the way it's being presented here. Cody Locke's Reduction says, I didn't like the Iran thing either. He says, but you can't argue with the results. He says the war ended pretty quickly. Trump went over there. You heard him say he obliterated their nuclear program. The whole thing was over. We only bombed them, 1 or 2 nights or something like that. And as a result, Trump is saying they no longer have the same nuclear ambition. Is that not a good thing?
There might be some good parts about that. But here's the thing. How do we know what Trump says is reliable now? How do you trust somebody once they lie to you? Here's the thing. Let's think about a marriage, for instance. Tim, you're married, right?
Something like that.
Close enough. You know what I'm talking about. You've been in a relationship.
Okay.
If someone cheats on you, if someone cheats on you, it's not just that they did something they say they weren't going to do. It's, well, are you going to do that in the future too? How do you trust someone after that?
Yeah, but you do realize Trump is a politician. That could apply to any damn body. They all say things occasionally.
But he's running the country.
Well,
yeah.
So in other words, Trump no longer has your trust. You don't find him as a credible person anymore.
No, I don't. I just feel like, he needs to do better. And again, if he came out tomorrow and said, you know what, I'm sorry about the Epstein files, and it probably should have stayed on what I said about not interfering in foreign wars, I might reconsider if he's willing to take responsibility, because we've all like had times where we've done stuff we're not proud of. Although when you're on like the level of I'm literally running the most powerful nation in the world, that's kind of a big oopsie.
Yeah.
You know, but if he stood on business and said like, I'm going to release the Epstein files now, and he actually does it, I could at least see a potential for reconciliation. But you got to own it.
But you started out by indicating he might be on the Epstein files. Scale of 1 to 10, 10 being he's definitely on it. How confident you feel that Trump may be on the Epstein list in a nefarious way? Not just hung around the guy, but actually kind of engaged in the same activity as Jeffrey Epstein. Scale of 1 to 10, how likely you think that may have happened?
It used to be a 3, now it's about a 5.
So still not sure. You don't feel like confident that he's done nothing like that.
I don't feel confident enough to say it. I can't say that, yeah, he's definitely on the list. Here's the thing. It would have been a 0 if it wasn't for the fact that he ran on revealing it, and then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, it's actually made up by the Democrats. It's made up by the Democrats. That's what everyone says. I'm just saying everyone thinks that I'm the best. Like, come on. Like, at some point, you gotta, like, it's kind of like seeing the cookie jar is broken, and then all of a sudden, and if someone comes in and with like a hammer, and they're like, I didn't take one of the cookies.
I've actually seen that happen with a child. Yeah, I mean, listen, he does seem to be a tad bit evasive with the Epstein stuff. I don't know why. I mean, of course, Ghislaine Maxwell is now in minimum security, and that hasn't been explained. Cody Lux, I see your comment, peace through strength. He's talking about in regards to the Iranian thing, the Iranian situation, that Trump wants to maintain peace by showing that we are a strong nation. So that is an argument.
I'm not even entirely against that, but it's like either change your mind publicly and make it clear that, you know what, I was wrong. We should intervene in with strength, or shut up and don't do what you said you're not going to do. You can't have it both ways.
Well,
I've made mistakes.
Yes, we are. No, I was going to say, there's possibility, at least from my beloved MAGA side of the aisle, that he may run again in 2028. They're really supporting that. And I see in the comments, Cody Lux says Trump helped turn Epstein in. I think it's more of some of his associates. So in other words, Trump probably didn't do anything, but he might know someone that is on the list that he would rather not go down in a blaze of glory. So that might have something to do with it. But let me ask it to you this way, because the way you feel about Epstein and the list coming out is the way a hell of a lot of people on the right felt as well if you go back about a year from now. Why do you think so many folks on the right, unlike yourself, particularly MAGA, unlike you, are still favorable to Trump, even though the problem you're complaining about exists, that he's not being cooperative on coming forward with the Epstein stuff. He's not being transparent on the Epstein stuff. Yet most of MAGA is still in this camp. Why do you think that is, considering your stance?
You know what? Here's the thing. I still think President Trump is a better president than Kamala would have been.
Kamala, yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to pronounce it however. It doesn't matter. Anyway, like I know someone whose name is Amala, and it's literally one letter off. Sue me. Anyway, I still think he's better. But here's the thing. That's not saying a lot. To me, that's not really saying much. And I think a lot of people realize that at least he actually, like in his first term, I'll give him credit for his first term. For his first term, he did more as a president than a lot of presidents do, because a lot of presidents are talk, and a lot of presidents move at a snail's pace. They're basically the USPS of getting things done.
Now, did you vote? Let me interrupt you. Did you vote for Trump all 3 times?
Twice, not 3.
You didn't vote. You didn't vote in the Hillary Clinton deal. I think you told me this before.
Yeah, I voted down ticket because I'm like, he's a Democrat. He's been a Democrat his whole life. He's not really a conservative, you know what I mean? And also when he openly revealed the private number of one of those politicians, I think it was Lindsey Graham.
Yeah, he put Lindsey Graham's phone number out there.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck, dude? And, you know, but then
if you had only known what was to come, if him giving Lindsey Graham's number out, if that trolling turned you off, if only you had known what was to come, because he's done that to you. But do you see, okay, because you said Trump is still, you believe he would have been better. And thank you, Joey Smith, friend of the program. For now, when you say that you believe that he still would have been better than Kamala, as you say, but Kamala. But let me ask you this, because Cody, he points out that he believes that Trump is better than Biden, Obama, and Bush. Is that your sentiment as well, that Trump is the best president we've had in at least the last couple, probably the last generation?
Kind of. I know that sounds weird. I think he's worse than some of them in some ways, but I think the grand total, he does end up being better. But here's the thing. I don't think that's a high bar to meet. Like Obama was like, Obama literally got the Nobel Peace Prize, and then he was like, drone strikes for everybody, and you get a drone strike, and you get a drone strike. He was basically Oprah Winfrey of drone strikes. Oh yeah.
What about the unity though? I mean, do you think America was more unified under Obama or Trump now?
I think we were honestly more divided now, but I still feel like it's not a great bar to be meeting. Like, I don't think Bush was a very high bar to meet. I don't think Clinton was. I don't think Obama was. I don't think that Trump deserves a whole lot of credit for in his first term for not being as shitty as a lot of our presidents have been. Now, the nice thing about living in a liberal republic, we're not a democracy, by the way, we're a constitutional republic. But the nice thing about living in that, and one that has different levels of power where the power is divided up, is there's no one president or no one can be a dictator. So there's no way one person can screw everything up anywhere at any given time.
They're saying otherwise about Trump. They're claiming Trump is on the path to being a dictator.
Yeah, I've heard some of that, but here's what I think is going to happen. He's going to leave office. He's too old, to run a third time. He's not going to try to violate the Constitution, and then he's just going to have J.D. Vance take over.
Perhaps. I got to move it on real quick with Jeremy before I let you go. And this is way off topic, but Jack One Upton in the comments wants me to ask you, what do you think about George Floyd?
I feel bad for George, actually. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I had a long time to think about George, and I don't think he deserved to die the way he did. I think he wasn't a good person, but I think he wasn't unable to be redeemed. And I don't think he's ever going to get that chance now. I think that he deserved justice, and I don't think we should sanctify him. I don't think we should make him into a saint, which a lot of people are doing. But
how did he die? How did he die in your opinion?
I think it was a mix of pressure on the neck and fentanyl. I think it was both.
So you do believe, though, that the officer was responsible, at least partially, for his death? Okay.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. He shouldn't get off scot-free.
Fair enough. All right. Appreciate it, Jeremy. That wasn't a bad take at all, in my opinion. I believe without Derek Chauvin being on his neck, he would have been still alive. But I do agree he shouldn't be made into a martyr. But I don't favor Charlie Kirk being made into a martyr either. I don't see where Charlie Kirk's made any huge societal contributions worthy of that. But Charlie Kirk didn't have a criminal rap sheet like that. But so I don't totally disagree with what you're saying. I don't know about the fentanyl and all these other excuses that people are coming up with, but otherwise, appreciate it. I do tend to agree with most of that. Jeremy, thanks for coming through. Being candid, by the way. Thanks, Tim. Always a pleasure. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. Ask what. I make sure I didn't miss anything. Now I seen you there. Cody Luck says Obama started the division with race stuff. True. I don't think that was avoidable, though. I don't believe that was avoidable. I mean, if you're going to be the first black anything, there's going to be division based on race, because there's going to be a significant portion of America that don't want you in that gig. I mean, I don't think there's any way possible we could have had a black president being the first one without having some level of division, because there's some people who don't believe a black person should have that job. So, yeah, absolutely, it started with Obama. I don't disagree with that, but I mean, Obama could not have won, certainly not by the numbers he did, without a large amount of white support. So, anyway, looking in the comments, I'll continue on. And I see Nicodemus says, "Come on, man, what did I get wrong?" I think that says Nicodemus. Let me go back to the box. Michael Brown says, "Bullshit, dude." Have you been in Ferguson recently, Mike? Mike Brown, what did I say that makes you say bullshit? Calling someone a PDF without actual proof is ignorance at its finest. But no, I mean, look, I'll just simply say that's what happens. I'm assuming, I haven't been reading the comments, I'm assuming that somebody probably called Trump a PDF, and you're saying that calling him a PDF without proof is ignorance at its finest. I gotta push back slightly because Trump calls people all kinds of shit too without proof. So, I mean, there is a such thing as karma. I mean, didn't Trump immediately say several victims were murdered by the radical left before we even knew who the murderers were? I mean, that's just kind of what happens. I mean, we're in a divided political atmosphere. That's so. Look, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Some might ask, or some might say. Charlie Kirk kept the conversations. Charlie Kirk kept the conversation between these open. He was also a big religious leader. I mean, okay, keeping an open conversation and being a big religious leader. I don't know if that's enough to qualify you to get your own highway named after you or become a martyr, though. There's a whole lot of big religious leaders in this country. I don't know. It seems like there should be more to it than that. I think the guy was a hero for the conservative party and the conservative movement, and I think that's kind of all what it was. I don't know beyond that. I mean, he was a big cheerleader for the conservative movement. That's fine, but I mean, would your favorite giving the same accolades to Stacey Abrams? She's registered a hell of a lot of liberals to vote and things like that. She's done speeches everywhere. She's the one that ran for governor in California, in Georgia, and lost against Governor Kemp, who's the current governor in Georgia. But that's all he's done. I mean, he ran. He was a big, he was a God-fearing man. Talking about Kirk, but I mean, I don't know. He held debates all over the country at colleges and universities, but I don't know about being a martyr. There's a bit much to that. Don't matter now because he is full of embalming fluid and 6 feet now. King Finn, that is cruel and slightly unusual. Love to Cruz. Good evening. Welcome to the program. Charlie Kirk didn't make himself a martyr. The person that shot him did. I'm just simply saying the accomplishments of Charlie Kirk, I don't see how they're worthy of martyrdom, is what I'm saying. Go to a library and do your research. Afraid of old newspapers, huh? I get the handsome liberal in Charlie Kirk. It takes time. Fair enough, T2. Thank you. Love the Cruz. Good evening.
Hey, how you doing?
Do you see Kirk as a martyr?
No.
Why do you think so many people do?
The same way they see Trump as one is what he's preaching. And with anybody, I don't see him as one. But what he says, I don't agree with. Now, if he was saying what I agree with, maybe I might feel different. So we all have to look at it like when a person preaches to what you want to hear, then you're going to feel accordingly.
I mean, even if somebody preaches what I want to hear, I don't know if it's worthy of making them a martyr, though. To me, you got to do more than preach. You got to accomplish something.
Yeah, but you tend to give them more leeway if they're saying exactly what you want to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I hear it. I'm
not a big fan of Trump, but I was a big fan of Obama. So I gave Obama more leeway than I would give Trump because I don't like what Trump says. Even though the problem with me and Trump is this, he has some good ideas, but his process of committing to them is fucked up.
Explain. Elaborate. Give me some examples.
Getting rid of immigrants that were in the country illegally, okay, but the way he went about it was messed up. Going through trying to skim the fat in the government was okay, but the way he went about it was fucked up. See, this is this process that's really fucked up. If you had went about the illegals the same, the proper way, and went through all the channels, would we had anything to say about it? Probably not. You know,
I don't know. I disagree with that. I think that because Trump is so outspoken and boisterous in his commentary, I think that anything he does, he's going to get a hell of a lot of resistance from the left because he is, he's always on the attack. He likes to troll. He likes to piss people off. That's going to come with a certain amount of consequence. Even if you're doing things that are good, it's going to come with that.
okay, so getting rid of the illegals and send them into prison, that was the way to go? No trial, no nothing. That was the way to go?
No.
Cutting the government and firing a bunch of people, not even knowing who does what. That was the way to go?
No, I can't. Listen, I've never been a fan of an illegal immigrant deserves no due process because I'm afraid that if you don't give them due process, it opens the door for anybody to get called an illegal immigrant and you can just get rid of them.
There it is. So it's a process. It's the way he goes about things that's more aggravating than anything. Right now with the government shutdown, what do he say? I'm going to cut all the Democratic policies. All the policies the Democrats like, I'm going to cut them.
Yeah.
So you're messing with everybody. You're about to fire a bunch of people. And at the same time, you're still preaching division. I live in a red state, so chances are maybe I won't get messed around. But just say people that are in the blue states, they're going to get tore up.
Well, Trump does operate on, he is a transactional guy. So listen, if you fuck with him, he fucks with you. So he believes that the Democrats are the reason the government is shut down. So while the government is shut down, he's going to fuck with the Democrats.
Yeah, but that's not the way a president. Who wants a president like that is only a favorite to the people that vote for him throughout the election?
These guys.
Trump.
These guys want a president like that. These guys.
You know what, out there on TikTok, MAGA and all that, MAGA, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, they're influent on TikTok, but in the real world, no, they're not.
Well,
and they're outnumbered.
I mean, 77 million went with Trump. They didn't go with Kamala Harris.
All of them aren't all of them aren't MAGA.
Yeah.
Some of them just Republicans, and some of them were just people that didn't want to vote for Vice President Harris. But all of them weren't MAGA. MAGA doesn't have that type. Look at Jeremy. Jeremy surprised me today. He's usually a total motherfucking idiot. He has really turned the corner.
The Epstein stuff, I think, is what has made Marjorie Taylor Greene kind of turn the corner too, because she talked to the victims and, she said it was really, kind of made her get emotional. I think that Epstein stuff, which I believe is probably why Trump is adamant in not releasing it, because it'll probably make more people turn the corner. But that, there are some things like that is really upset a lot of MAGA, is that the way he's treating the Epstein files.
Look, if he was to open it up and let everybody see the Epstein file, he would lose his advantage. Right now, all the millionaires and billionaires was in there. He's holding that over their head, saying, "I can release that." And what would happen to you? They don't know for sure that he's in there, but he knows that they're in there. So he's playing an advantage card over them.
Well, it could be a waiting game. I mean, he only has to hold out for another 3 years and then he'll be fine. So it could be a waiting game.
But in that time, I'm using if I have something on you and I say, Tim, look, I know this and that about you, but I'm willing to hold it. I'm willing to hold this in my pocket, but I need for you to do this and that.
I'm gonna do this and that. I'm gonna do this and that. If it means that if you got a major felony on me, like a sex crime like that, where everybody's gonna hate me, my business, my family, my wife, everybody, yeah, I'm gonna probably do what you ask.
And so that's exactly what Trump is doing. But see, you don't know that I'm in there.
But how does that make Trump look? If okay, let's say Trump hasn't violated the innocence of any children, but he is using the Epstein files as a bargaining chip against people that he knows that actually did do that for personal gain. How does that make him look? Because that means he's potentially protecting pedos for personal gain.
Look, this is my opinion of what he did, but these things are done behind closed doors, and they're not coming. It isn't coming out like that, so there's nothing he has to worry about. You know, it's secret. You know, if I know you did it, but I'm not saying nothing. I'm not putting it. I'm diverting. Every time they say something, I put it on Obama. I put it on Biden. But I'm saving you, and you know I'm saving you.
Then that means by you doing that, then that means you are protecting a pedo.
Oh, okay, and so what? What do you think Trump thinks about that? I mean, me and you may think something because we have a conscience.
You think Trump lacks a conscience so much that he would protect a pedo?
Hell yeah, this same man said he would fuck his daughter.
He did say it. I don't have a pushback. He did say something like that. Wow.
Come on, man.
I wasn't expecting you to go that hard. Damn. We were talking about, we're going to end that because you won that. I can't go nowhere with that. But I do want to ask you, because we talk about lack of due process for illegals. One of my viewers, Cody Locks Production says, illegal immigrants get a different type of due process: expedited removal, voluntarily removal, or immigration court hearing, depending on how long they've been here. So he's disputing the claim that illegal immigrants do not get due process. Do you agree with him?
And all the motherfuckers, no, they all in Venezuela prisons. Come on, man. If I came here from Panama, why are you gonna ship me to Venezuela?
Because Panama won't take you back.
They'll take me back. If you can get Venezuela, take it. You can get Panama. You get Panama. They didn't work at it.
Yeah.
That was just a deal they made with Venezuela. They didn't work to talk to the Panamanian government. Chances are people that ran from there, unless they're under some kind of asylum, they didn't even know they were gone in the first motherfucking place.
Yeah. And I will say, I don't see where Kilmar Borrego Garcia, the guy that was on the news constantly, I don't see where he got due process at all. I mean, they pretty much, they grabbed him and sent him straight to Venezuela, sent him straight to, what was it? Not Ecuador, El Salvador. They just sent him there. I don't see where he didn't get to fight that. In fact, his family didn't know he was there until they saw him on TV getting bent over. When they bend you over and push you in while you're in a bending position, he didn't get due process. No judge said you're now hereby sentenced to El Salvador. They just took him and sent him.
None of them got due process. They all got shipped to prison. And all of them are not from Venezuela. So, I mean, why are you going to ship somebody who isn't from there to another country that they're not even from?
Kind of like one of those deals, what do they say? You don't have to go home, but you got to leave here. That's kind of what America's doing. You don't got to go where you came from, but you got to leave here. So I guess our deportation process has took a different, a whole new meaning under Trump.
No, he's did that. You know how many just off the wall things he's done as the president since he's been in?
They love him for it.
It's crazy. There's who wants? They can say Biden this and the Sleepy Joe and all that, but every day we weren't waking up to chaos. Yeah. Every day we wake up to chaos. And who wants that out the White House? I don't.
I think MAGA is still quite happy though. Most of them are still fairly. I got to move it on, let it cruise, but they're still happy with the guy. I mean, I don't know how much support. Huh?
They're gonna be all right till the shit hits the fan with them. See, the things that he's trying to do with the Democrats, he thinks is just gonna hurt all black people. But it's gonna hurt a lot of MAGA too. There are a lot of MAGA on food stamps, on Medicaid, Medicare. So he's gonna hurt them, and then I want to see if they're still gonna act the same way.
You don't see Trump as racist, though, do you? Like you said, hurting all black people. You don't see Trump as a racist. president, do you?
Yeah, is pig pussy pork?
What did you say?
Yeah, you're racist. Come on, man. Everything he just who are the majority of Democrats?
White people.
Black people.
No, that's nowhere near true. That's nowhere near true. It ain't enough of us in the country. No, I mean the majority of blacks are Democrats, but the majority of Democrats are not black.
Everything he does, he's trying to hurt black people. Every place he sends the National Guard and all that, those are black neighborhoods.
Well, his job, according to him, is to lower crime. That's where the crime is in black neighborhoods.
You went over the top 10. He didn't go nowhere in the top 10.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the top 10. You know, so I'm not trying to hear that. Yeah, Trump, you know damn well Trump is a racist, man. You know that.
There's a whole lot of counter arguments. I gotta move it on, but there's a lot of counter arguments. London Cruz, appreciate you coming through though, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anytime. All right, moving on with the program. Somebody in the comments said that Kilmar Abrego Garcia, something to the name, what he says, Kilmar is about to go free. I don't know about that, Sassy. I don't know about that. But somebody else said something. Don't know where it went. But I don't believe Kilmar Abrego Garcia got due process. I don't believe that at all. I mean, in fact, like I said, his family found out that he was in El Salvador through, when Kristi Noem and they were doing those commercials, if you come here illegally, and they were boasting about people getting sent to prison. His family saw him in one of those ads. That ain't nobody gets due process and ends up in jail like that. Your family normally knows because they're in court with you, and they hear you get sentenced. You're going to be sentenced for 120 months in the custody of the federal government. You normally hear that. So for them to find out he was incarcerated via a commercial, no, he didn't get due process. Now his attorneys and things like that have fought and slowly but surely won his due process by getting judges to order he be brought back to America and things like that. So he's getting due process, but he's only getting it because he had enough legal counsel. And because if he wasn't in that commercial or in that ad, he might have just been somebody who disappeared. Because the folks that were on Alligator Alcatraz, a lot of their family members are saying that they just disappeared. They don't know where they're at. They don't have any way of contacting them. They just disappeared. Now, remember, President Trump was talking about possibly deporting people to the continent of Africa somewhere. They may be there. There's no way to know. They're not exactly telling you how many people they're sending or when they're sending them. They're just getting these people out of here. So there are folks that had family members on Alligator Alcatraz that are saying they have no contact with their person that was deported. They don't know where they're at. And the government is not telling them anything. So my guess is that would have likely happened to Kilmar Abrego Garcia if his family had not spotted him. They would not have known he was in El Salvador, put out a missing persons report, and it would have kind of probably ended at that. Because Trump is on the files, 100% says Thunder Palace. 100% he's on the files. But is he in the Epstein files because he abused someone? Or, maybe they were just doing surveillance on Epstein and this guy routinely hung at his apartment, or this guy routinely was flying to the island to hang out with him, or they went to parties. That don't mean Trump actually did anything. So is he on the files because he done something criminal? That's a different story. ICE was waiting to arrest people trying to leave. I know they were getting people in courtrooms and things like that. I mean, the fact is, under President Trump, the number of people that were here illegally grew. And I'm saying that not because more people came in this country illegally under Trump, because Trump did secure the border. But the amount of illegal immigrants in this country grew substantially the moment Trump was sworn in. And what do I mean by that? I mean, there's a lot of people that were here legally, and Trump, by executive order, changed the law so that a lot of legal migrants suddenly became illegal immigrants and thereby fugitives. For instance, by removing the temporary protected status, TPS, known as TPS, Cubans, Haitians, all of them folks that were enjoying that. The minute Trump said your TPS status time period has expired, they now became illegal immigrants. You either leave now or you become an illegal immigrant. Same thing happened with the asylum seekers. Under the Biden administration, you come in, you go through the process to claim asylum, and then you get a court date, and the judge decides whether or not you can stay. Under Trump, no court date. This is over with. You no longer qualify. We want you gone. So now all of a sudden, a whole lot of people that were here legally suddenly became illegal immigrants. So under the Trump administration, the amount of illegal immigrants in this country skyrocketed because most of the people that came in this country under Biden didn't exactly, run across the Rio Grande. They came here as asylum seekers. That's why you were seeing all the caravans and things like that. They came and requested asylum. Once Trump became president, all of those folks who were here legally under Biden became illegal immigrants under Trump. So gave him a lot of work to do. Our history, he's trying to erase it, says Nakiva Bella Scott. There is some of that happening. Garcia had an order of removal. Talking about Kilmar Abrego Garcia. He had an order of removal earlier that was given under Obama. I'm not aware of that. So you're saying that when Obama left office, Kilmar Abrego Garcia already had an order of removal? No court dates or anything took place after that? I don't know. Okay, if that's the case, I stand corrected. I'm not aware of that, though. I'm not aware that that's true. Somebody let me know. I see Mike, you're disagreeing with that. I have not heard that he had an order of removal from Obama. MAGA wouldn't care about Trump and a child, says Thunder Palace. So you're saying that even if Trump actually did abuse a child, took the innocence of a kid, MAGA wouldn't care about that? I don't know if I agree with that. I think there is a substantial amount of MAGA that would. Now, not all of them. I'll agree with you. There are some folks that would probably still ride with Trump and probably not believe the child. But there are some that would. Marjorie Taylor Greene is obviously one that would believe it. Chicago is called Chirac for a reason, says Cody Lux. Yeah, that is true. It's a violent place, but there are more violent cities in America beyond Chicago. And you continue on by saying Garcia had an order of deportation back under Biden 3 years prior. I'd have to look it up. I'm not aware all of that was there. I'm not aware of that. His comment about the 10-year-old last month was suspect. What did Trump say about a 10-year-old last month? I know he did say passing a young girl on an escalator that, in 10 years he'll be dating her, but that was years ago. What did he say about a 10-year-old last month? I'd be curious to know. Let me go back to the box. We'll go to Mike. We tried to bring you up earlier, Mike. I don't know what happened. We'll try it again. This is why you don't do drugs. Somebody in the comments said. Mike, good evening.
What up, Tim? What's happening with you?
Real quick, before, not much at all. Good to have you. Real quick, somebody asked, how does asylum work? My understanding is you can't travel across multiple countries to find the one you like. I've never heard that before. I've never heard that if I want to go to, he's saying that if you want to go seek asylum, let's say you live in Panama and you want to seek asylum and you go, you're crossing, I think you'd probably cross Venezuela, you'd probably cross Honduras and several countries to get to the United States. He's saying because you crossed all of those other countries, you would not be able to apply for asylum here. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah, I've heard it. I don't have it in front of me, but it's you're supposed to be able to seek the closest country to you for that sanctuary, that asylum. However, you can't go from one country that's having the same problem to another country that's having the same problem. So that's typically what happens. Why would you leave Honduras to go to Panama or, Venezuela? It just doesn't make any sense, especially if you're trying to get away from that kind of.
That's a good point. If you're running from the cartel, they got major influence in all of those countries down there.
Right. I'm trying to get out all these motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But
good point.
First of all, two things real quick. Tap the screen. Let's get up to 100K.
Thank you.
Get up to 100K. Saturday. I know it's Tim being soft Saturday, but please help us.
We're not being soft here. We're talking about
your ass been soft. Your ass been soft all day. I listened to you talking to RV USA with that bullshit. You've been soft all day.
We're talking
Again,
about
Saturday.
the good stuff of President. Let's get to the good stuff, Mike. Give me one thing Trump has done that's been good for America.
Tim, honestly, if I could think of one, I would name one.
8 months, not one good thing at all. Securing the border. Give me that.
No, listen, you and this goddamn security border. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you this.
What do you got?
No. Let me do. So, you got a backyard, right?
Yes.
You got a fence.
Yes.
If the latch is broke on your side gate, and you put a brick up against that motherfucker to keep it closed, is it fixed?
No.
It's just closed, but it ain't fixed. Until you fix that latch, you have every day you got to put that brick back up against that bitch, right?
Okay. What are you saying?
It ain't fixed. It ain't fixed. The border's not fixed.
Is it better
And
than
you know
it
what I'm
was?
tired of
Is it at least better than it was under Biden?
Well, here's what I'm saying. I want to say, if you look at the numbers of the recordings that were crossing, taking their numbers into account, I told you from the beginning, I can't trust their numbers. But if we can't track illegals, if we can't track gotaways to an extent, then how do we know? Because you're really forcing people to take other channels to get into the country if they can't come across with our normal immigration policies right now.
Okay. Then what about President Trump saying
Records
this?
for the lowest number of illegal border crossings ever recorded. Think of that, ever recorded. The number of illegal border crossers released into the United States is down, listen to this please, 99.999%.
That's got to be an improvement over Biden.
Well, that's some bullshit, and you know it. Yeah, you know what amazes me? How you can say this shit with a straight face. And this is why I fuck with you, because you said that shit and played that shit with a straight face, like that number was remotely. Listen, how can you trust a source that lies all the time about everything? I take that number that he just gave you the same way I take his job numbers. I take the number he gave you the same way I take the Haitians are eating the cats and dogs. I can't equivocate on the source of somebody that's a habitual liar to tell me something truthful. I just can't. And you know what, Tim? To be honest with you, just so I don't know anybody that wants him to ultimately fail. I know people say that, but nobody really wants him to fail because we will lose lives. Now, and I know people say it out of frustration, right? Like FAFO and fuck around and find out. Now, I don't have sympathy for those that voted for deportation and then got loved ones deported. I'm like, well, you found the fuck out. But at the end of the day, him failing means we all fail.
True.
Right?
That is true.
But I'm just being honest. I'm just keeping the facts where they are. The bottom line is we have somebody that's a habitual liar, a narcissist who won't tell the truth to save his life. You brought up the E-files. If Trump was just in the E-files because he just happened to be around him and nothing happened, he would release that shit. Tim, you gotta force people to put the dots together.
Yeah, but what about the notion that he didn't release it because maybe he has an associate or something that he thinks will be wronged by those files coming public?
If that were true, because here's the thing. So he would have to weigh protecting that person versus the way it makes him look. And he'll always choose him. He will. There is no one walking this planet that he would not throw underneath the bus before him. Not no fucking body. I don't mean Melania, the children. It doesn't matter.
You think he would?
Now,
you think he would throw his own wife and kids under the bus to save himself?
100% You got to remember, Tim. He hasn't always had this beautiful relationship with his children. Didn't Eric come back in his life recently? Like we got to be honest what we're dealing with here. He's not that father. He's not that husband, and he's not that friend.
How about
Trump
this
is
though? Because
the motherfucking.
let me just say this, because you and I are having this conversation. You obviously are no fan of Trump. T2 says all blacks are all angry. He says my Asian and Latino friends are living large. So he's suggesting that the African American community just seem to be in a perpetual state of anger when it comes to Trump.
Well, let me say this. It's Trump because Trump is the spokesman. Trump is the spokesman of this racist white supremacist shit. If it was somebody else, we would be pissed with that person. But what that person just told you was the Asians and Hispanics in his life has assimilated to whiteness. So they separate themselves from being marginalized because they can. Because Asian can just be quiet and go to work.
I don't know if I interpreted all that out. You said the Asian and Hispanics in his life assimilated to being white. I don't know if I interpreted it that way. That's a hell of an interpretation.
That's the only way you can be okay with it, Tim. The only way you can be okay with watching your communities, your people be marginalized if you assimilate it to whiteness. When I'm talking about Hispanics and Asians.
How is President Trump?
That's just the way I see it.
How is President Trump marginalizing the black community?
With all of these executive orders that are trying to take us back to when we even had rights, Tim, to where you're getting rid of DEI to target black people and marginalized groups. And if I'm wrong, then tell me why from April to July, 350,000 black women have lost jobs on this DEI and woke movement. 350,000, the largest demographic to lose jobs since he's been in office, period.
What has Trump done to specifically target the employment of African American women? What has he done that's caused that?
He's put pressure on corporations to either capitulate to getting rid of that DEI shit, and we all know what it means. This is nothing but the Southern strategy. When they stopped saying the N-word and they said states' rights, and all these other dog whistles because they knew they could just be overtly racist. What he does is tell these corporations, if you don't get away from this DEI, I'm going to do this, that, and the third. They capitulate, and what happens? It's not my numbers. These are the numbers that are out there. What I'm saying, Tim, whoever said that in the comments is comfortable in their whiteness. Because if they saw their own people being treated this way, they too would have a fucking problem with it. And if they didn't have a problem with it, then they're more like Trump than they even imagine. At the end of the day, if black people are upset, we have been perpetually treated like shit in this country. And they think because we're not in chains and we're not in fields and that we should be fucking happy to have a little bit of something when they want everything. And even the little bit we have, they want to take that too.
But you know there's a whole lot of black MAGA that don't see things the way you do. I mean, Trump did better with blacks than Joe. I mean, he actually got more blacks from Kamala Harris than he got from Joe Biden. So his black support went up
because they did a better job lying. They did a better job with propaganda. They did a better job with throwing a hook in front of a hungry demographic of people to give them nothing. And guess what? Them dumb motherfuckers bought it. They bit the hook for the bait. They got pulled up and got shit for it. If you don't believe me, look at his administration. When's the last time you've seen, what's the brother's name put in charge of HUD? When's the last time you seen him, Tim?
Ben Carson?
No, that was his last. That was his last administration. The other brother he put in charge of HUD. That guy. When's the last time you seen him? When's the last time you seen? Listen, Tim. I don't give a fuck how people feel about what I'm saying. If they go do their homework, they'll realize if you take it personal, then there's some shit within you that, you know, when you go to church and the pastor says something, you think he's talking to you. That's where these comments come from. You know what I'm talking about. You're like, is he talking to me? Was he with me last night? It's because the bottom line is this. If people cared about humanity, they would just say, this shit is wrong. I don't care who the president is. I don't care what your political affiliation is. If you're trying to harm a certain group of people just because you don't fucking like them, that should be a problem for everybody.
I don't think MAGA sees Trump as not liking groups of people. I think they believe he's trying to do what's right by all Americans. But before we continue, Cody Likes Production says, I meant under Biden, and there were two orders rushed of deport. And one, this is in regards to Kilmar Abrego Garcia. This is one of my viewers who's saying that Kilmar Abrego Garcia received due process, and he was supposed to be deported, going all the way back to the Obama administration. He says the rush of one order of withholding, preventing his return to El Salvador. So, is that the way you viewed it? That Abrego Garcia got due process?
He did. Listen. They're conflating two separate. First of all, everything that happened to him before they deported him had nothing to do with him being deported. Listen, I want to be clear. He had a temporary stay of removal. He was in this country. He did everything he was supposed to do by the courts. He got caught up on this propaganda bullshit, and then after they deported him, now all these Trump supporters want to go back to him beating his wife, and none of that has anything to do with the reason he was deported. Nothing. In 2019, he had a temporary a stay of removal in 2019. Again, Tim, I wish that people would do the research before they come to these conclusions to make themselves feel comfortable about the cruelty. Alligator Alcatraz. Yeah, and I'm going to tell you, you got, was it 1,200 people? They still haven't been able to locate something like that?
It's a lot.
It's a lot, right? People, listen, MAGA supporters, Trump supporters, they want to say whatever they need to say to make themselves sleep at night. That's all. That's all this is about, Tim. Listen, they're saying, well, he was supposed to be removed, so I don't feel bad what's going because he should have been removed anyway. This is all self-serving for them. Because if they're honest, then it's going to expose who they really are and how they really think. And then the fact that they want to be in this box to make themselves feel comfortable. Because I don't, and here's how much I believe in people. I try to. If I'm wrong about what I'm saying, then they should care about people. I would think that if they just put themselves in that situation, they would automatically see that it's wrong.
Well,
there's no way.
The argument is, Mike, we are a nation of laws. We got a border. We got to know who's in the country. We've had acts of terror on U.S. soil on September 11th. We need to. Biden was letting people in to claim asylum without them being vetted. We didn't know who the hell they were. And I see even Cody Locke said that 300,000 border crossings down to 3,000. And that's according to DHS. So President Trump has basically cut that by down to 1%? I mean, so under Biden,
and again,
go ahead.
And again, if you trust those, listen, if you trust those numbers, then see, this is what I'm talking about. Just give me one room on this. If you trust those numbers, then you would have trusted the numbers you saw before then. And the numbers before then never added up to the propaganda they put there. Never. If you're going to DHS now, then you can go to that same website and see that those 11 million crossings, those 13 million, those 18 million were never there. So are you trusting the source or are you not trusting the source? That's number one. My problem with Trump is this. In his administration, they lie all the time about everything. So no, I can't trust those numbers now. I would like to, but I can't because I can't trust the fucking source, Tim. That's all I'm saying. I just can't trust the source. The last time we had a report that came out that he didn't like, he fired the person and came out with bogus bullshit numbers. Yes or no, Tim? Am I lying?
Yeah,
listen.
The jobs numbers.
It happens. So let me ask you this. If somebody does that to you, when do you start to trust them again, Tim? On the next report?
That's a good question.
Or the report after that? When do you start to trust them again?
That would probably mean they've lost credibility for the foreseeable future.
Yes. And now if you're doing it to push your agenda of harm, like there was no reason for them to go into that apartment complex in Chicago the way they did. Zero. There was no fucking reason to do that. But they don't care, Tim. Have you heard, I'm going to say this for your audience, because I want you to Google 287G program if you haven't looked it up.
287G as in golf.
Yes. People need to pay attention. I need everybody to go look up 287G. It's been around forever, but it's being weaponized by the Trump administration to federalize local police so they have the same rights and access as ICE.
Okay, here is the AI overview for what you're suggesting. The 287G program is a partnership between U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE, and state and local law enforcement agencies that allow designated local officers to perform specified federal immigration and enforcement duties under ICE supervision. This is an authorized by Section 287G of the Immigration and Nationality Act, and it allows local law enforcement to help identify and remove immigrants who have violated U.S. immigration laws, though the extent of the powers varies by agreement model. The program has been criticized for its potential to lead to racial profiling and civil rights abuses. What are you getting at?
So what did the Supreme Court just tell Donald Trump that ICE could do?
They could racial profile, yeah.
Right. So now it's going to give local law enforcement agencies that sign up for this program, because it's not mandatory, that sign up for this program to be incentivized to pull people over under 287G, so racial profile, to see if they're an immigrant or not. It's just exacerbating the shit we're talking about. People better pay attention. People got to go understand that what they're trying to do is what we've been saying. So to the person that said black people always seem angry, they're privatizing prisons. You're not hearing it. They're building more detention centers. If you're trying to get them out of here, why are you building so many goddamn detention centers? Listen, the reality is this. If white people are wrong, they'll be like, oh, sorry, I was wrong, my bad. But how will they be impacted, Tim? Are they going to be in these detention centers, Tim? Are they going to be in detention centers?
Not likely.
Exactly. So whoever answered that question, I hope you're still listening when I say to you sincerely to shut the fuck up.
Well,
do some homework and find out. Go ahead.
Speaking of that, the same individual also continues by saying Trump was the highest employer of black people in Florida, where we're opened up in an area that barely employed blacks. So in other words, he went into an area that was barely employing blacks and became suddenly, maybe that's in Mar-a-Lago, I don't know, but he continues by saying DEI is a racist policy. It wants to meet a quota, it wants to meet a quota based on skin color over actual skill, as Charlie Kirk said. DEI means didn't earn it. What say you?
And again, Tim, I will say to you, to that person, through your platform, I'm gonna start going live too for these motherfuckers, because you and I have a different approach. If they go read DEI, it doesn't mean, but they want to be comfortable in their racism, Tim. They want to be comfortable in their bigotry just to regurgitate that. Because if they did any research whatsoever, it would tell them that what he just said is not true. Any research whatsoever out of his algorithm would tell him what he just said wasn't true. But if he finds out it's not true, then he should question everything he's been told.
But your truth is being challenged also, Mike, because he's saying that the courts, in regards to whether or not you could stop somebody based solely on skin color, the response is the court said race cannot be the primary reason for stopping someone. Also, jails have always been private, which is true. We've always had private prisons before Trump. But he's saying the courts did not rule that you could stop someone based on skin color. I believe that that's not true, Cody Locks. I believe that they did say you could stop somebody based on skin color.
Tim, I'm not going to say that shit. You think I'm going to say that if I haven't done my research? Goldilocks, do some research. Back July 11th of this year, the state of California sued to stop racial profiling. The Supreme Court turned around and said ICE can continue using those practices in the state of California. Period. Full stop. Now what 287G is doing is allowing them to use racial profiling to pull people over. Now, I know, Goldilocks, you're not worried because you're not going to be profiled. Because why would you be profiled? Because I assume you're not black. If you are, then you're even more ignorant than I thought, because what you're doing is signing off on being profiled. And what I'm saying, Tim, listen, Tim, you're my age. I don't know where in California, when it was stop and frisk?
Yeah.
That shit was bad out here. I don't know if it was bad where you were.
It was bad in Chicago too. I've been stopped. I've been profiled probably at least a half dozen times, and I've been profiled in Michigan. I had it happen in Iowa. I've been profiled in Wisconsin. I've had it happen. Where I knew for a fact the only reason I was getting pulled over because I was black. Because I don't have a criminal history, and my criminal history is better than most cops. I have nothing, and I've been stopped several times like that. And it wasn't for speeding or nothing. The guy just stopped me, and I thought you didn't have your seatbelt on, but I see you have it on, but do
Yeah.
you mind if I search your car? I mean, I've had that happen. I've actually had that happen.
So that 287G is bringing that shit back because all they have to do based on that is pull you over under the guise of ICE. That's all they got to do. That's all they got to do. And here's the thing. Now, cities and counties, you know, those local law enforcement have to sign up for that program. The last time I looked, and I'm gonna go back when I get home. You know the places I can tell you didn't sign up for?
Where?
You're gonna find this very interesting, Tim. Chicago, Portland, California,
Liberal cities.
Memphis. The places that he is deploying the National Guard, those places said, get the fuck out of here with that shit, because I know what you're trying to do with it.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying, Tim, is this. People can push back all they want. I don't mind people pushing back. I don't care what they say about me, because I read. I go read, and I make sure that I'm putting two and two together. But again, I'll ask this question. What is the damage if I'm wrong, Tim? What's the damage if I'm wrong?
The damage if you're wrong is you're making a lot of people look like racists that are not.
And what if only based on what I'm reading and what I'm seeing?
I'm just saying, if you are wrong, you are
but-
accusing a lot of people. Police departments, justices, courts. You're accusing a whole lot of people of racism that are not racist. That's what I mean. You would be creating to some degree a lot of hatred based on what you're saying if you're wrong.
I'm only using the information that's out there. I'm not making it up. It's not propaganda.
Well, there's information out there that suggests Trump won the 2020 election. I mean, there's a lot of. I got to move it on, but there's a lot of information out there.
I'm talking facts. And another thing, Love the Cruise said, I don't know if you caught that. When you asked him, he said, "Is pig pussy pork?" That's what he said.
I heard it. I heard enough of it that it made me crack up. I didn't catch it completely, but it was pretty fucking wild.
I just want to make sure I told you that. Listen, for those that are listening to me, hey, we only got Tim up to 80,000. We can do better than that.
No
Tim,
shit.
I appreciate your show. I know. I appreciate your show. And RBUSA, this is a topic that I think you need to carry. They always talk about us in victimhood. Like, why are we always victims? But they need to ask themselves, what would we be victims of? They never ask that question. We're not the ones whining and trying to take things away from people. They are. We're not trying to take anybody's rights away. We're not trying to ship people back to where they quote unquote came from because they ate the cats and dogs. So who's the victim? Who's acting like a victim? Who's acting like they're fearful? It ain't us. It's them.
They have a difference of opinion on that. Mike, appreciate it. Thank you. And continuing on real quick when he says we're not trying to take anything. I mean, look, if you're white and you believe that DEI or affirmative action is taking a job from you, a white person believes that black people are taking stuff from them. I mean, this is how it's viewed. I'm not saying I agree with it, but they do view that DEI and affirmative action in some of these programs are giving people of color access to employment opportunities that the person does not deserve, that is solely based on their skin color. So they do believe that black people are taking something from that aspect. Cody Lex says diversity, equity, and inclusivity. Equity equals equal outcome, equality, equal chances. DEI is another version of affirmative action, which is illegal. You know, the DEI thing, I'm not even going to go into my entire spiel on it. This isn't the show for it, but I've talked about DEI and how it's kind of the country was founded on DEI. I'm not going to go into the whole spiel on it, but DEI has always been around. Even when America was in the Jim Crow era and shit like that, DEI was always around. We just didn't call it that. Reparations is a joke, says Sandman. Actually, reparations is not a joke. Reparations for African Americans might be a joke, but there are groups of people that have received reparations. Native Americans, the Japanese that were interned during World War II, I believe the Chinese. I mean, there are people who have been, the slave owners got reparations for losing their slaves. Reparations is not a joke. It's been handed out several times. Maybe for African Americans it's a joke, because it ain't probably ever going to happen. But it has been handed. Somebody said the Jews, because they were not let in during the Holocaust and shit like that. They were turned away. Continuing on with the program now, real quick. I don't think every gay person. What? I don't think every gay person does make it known. Obviously, I'm talking about those that, okay, you guys must be having a conversation with each other. Honestly, I love black conservatives. They have one of the hardest fights. Yeah, they have one of the hardest fights. All of their friends and family have been conditioned to hate conservatives, so it's hard for them to wake up like that. There is some truth to that, Salty Colonel. If you are a black conservative, you're going to have a lot of resistance from your friends and family. There is some truth to that. Now, when you say all of their friends and family have been conditioned to hate conservatives, there is also some foundation behind that as well. Think about some of the well-known black conservatives that we know. Officer Tatum. Perhaps you know the Hodge twins on, these are podcasters, the Hodge twins. Larry Elder. Larry Elder's another one. He's has his own talk show, and he's also a podcaster, I believe now. He went from radio, I believe he's on the internet now, but Larry Elder's another one. Candace Owens is a well-known black conservative. One thing that they all have in common, because you say that as a black conservative, blacks, you're going to have problems with your friends and associates, your family, because blacks have been taught to hate conservatives. The problem is when blacks become conservative, they start being really critical of the black community. That's going to create hatred. I'm just simply saying. Even if what you're saying is true, and I don't buy into the notion that it's all true. Kind of like Charlie Kirk, for instance. People say, well, the criticism he was giving the black community was all facts. Okay, I don't care what race you're from. I can't even get this out. But if you're targeting any specific community and everything you're pointing out is negative, that community is not going to like you. Doesn't matter what community we're talking about. Blacks, whites, Asians, Hispanics, LGBTQ, women, whatever. Every community has positive aspects to it. If all you are doing is pointing out the negatives, that community is not going to like you. And that is kind of one of the signature areas of the black conservative movement. They become conservatives, and then they just start pointing out all the negative shit about the black community. I don't know why that happens. If you hear Candace Owens talking about the black community, it's negative stuff. Even the black conservatives that are on TikTok, the people that are down in the weeds like me with a small platform, they're even doing it. I do not know why that happens. What about the principles, the core principles of the Conservative Party? Small government, pro-Christianity, pro-police, pro-family, pro-life. That's fine. That is fine if you lean towards those principles, even as an African American. It's when they start criticizing the black community. That's why they're getting hatred like that. I don't know why they do that. I don't know why that happens. Smooth One in the comments says, I know why it happens. I would love to hear your take on it. Why do African Americans, I'll bring you up, why do African Americans that become conservatives suddenly become real critical towards their own community? Smooth One, good evening. What say you?
Hey, Tim, man, I love your show, bro.
Appreciate it.
I've been
Thank
following
you.
you for a long
Thank
time, man. I appreciate you bringing me up. One of the reasons that it happens is strictly because that's how they gain acceptance into their world. Like, you have to show that you're not like the others, right? That's one of the first things that you have to do. And the way that you show that you're not like the others is to critique them and find the most horrible, slanted statistics you can find, and then espouse them. One of the things that I would always say, that if you don't have the care of that community, and I would say people like Charlie Kirk didn't have that care. If you don't have the care for a community, then you should refrain from critiquing that community, because you don't love that community. You don't want to see that community come up, right? People say, oh, he's trying to help people or give them the truth, when he's really not. He's just using statistics that fit his narrative. But you can also find Mr. Kirk saying some really horrible things about some people who have went to the best schools in America, people who have ascended to some of the highest positions in America, such as Ketanji Jackson Brown, the first Black Supreme Court, the first female Black Supreme Court justice. So again, I know why it happens, Tim, and I think a lot of us do. And I appreciate you bringing me up.
Yeah, I never could understand it. And I will tell you this, because as someone myself personally, I've been watching Fox News and conservative media for 20 plus years. I always get a story about how I actually was invited out to Fox News, One America Plaza, their high rise out in New York in Manhattan, co-host a show for radio and things like that. I've been a big Fox News watcher going way back to the early Shep Smith days, back in their late 90s.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, and I still watch them, not as much as I used to, but even, I'll tell you, it started affecting me. I've never gotten to the point where I would be always criticizing the African-American community, because I didn't make a full swing to being a conservative. But watching that stuff has made me become more critical of the Black community as well. Like when I'm in Chicago, I pull up to an intersection in the middle of the night or something, I'm looking all around because I'm, like, damn, I had to convince myself, like, you grew up in this shit. Why because it's all negative. If you watch Fox News, if they're talking about African Americans, they're not going to be at a college talking to a valedictorian. They're going to be talking about somebody who dropped out. It's all negative. It really is like that.
That's correct. And also, I think it makes them feel, you have to make people in that space feel comfortable with you. You know what I'm saying? Because they already view us as a threat. And so a lot of people do have a lot of stereotypical or even racist ideals about what happens in the Black community. And so a lot of those Black people that actually are being used as mouthpieces, they're paid, they're paid well to say some of the most horrible things. And I have to say this, it seems like that Black people are the only people in America who can't get upset, which is really ridiculous.
What do you mean by they can't get upset? We mean victim mentality?
So when the last gentleman who was eloquently speaking and just creating a case and also bringing evidence, someone mentioned that this guy is a mad person. He sounds upset, and all the Black people I know are upset. And then even you brought it out, and he said all of his Latino and Asian friends are happy, right? Well, the reality is that Black people, even though we have achieved a lot, we've overcome a lot, there's still a lot of disparities in this nation. And it seems like that Black people can't be upset about the disparities that are happening to them, the injustices that happen to them. But everyone else can be upset. Not only can they be upset about it, they can have some reprieve. You mentioned reparations, right? Reparations being a joke for Black Americans, when there's been other groups who have received those.
Yeah, but here's the difference. And this comment came from a viewer, came right on time. Cody Locke says, he says that reparations only make sense when the people who were affected are actually alive. Neither side that experienced it are alive right now. So he's saying, so don't punish one side for the other. So in other words, right now, if you give out reparations, you're giving it to African Americans that did not go through slavery, and you're taking it from potentially white people that did not own any. So he's saying it's wrong to do it now because the victim and the perpetrator, they're no longer around.
For sure. Well, number one, he should do his research, because he would know that descendants have received reparations. Descendants of Native Americans are currently receiving reparations right now as we speak. Also, it's not just what happened in slavery, right? It's also Jim Crow that happened, and the things that happened beyond slavery, the injustices that have happened after slavery that also need redressing, right? These things have a ripple effect. If my grandfather could not have a bank account, right, because he lived in Arkansas, and they didn't allow that, that would probably impact my father, which would probably impact me. I mean, I'm sure.
I think it's something, you make a really good point, and I'll say this because I think it's the wording. Usually when you hear reparations, people are talking about reparations for slavery, but you are correct. Jim Crow absolutely held back the progress of a hell of a lot of Black African Americans, and they're not all dead. They're clearly not all dead. So, like you said, if you can't own a bank account, You can't purchase homes in certain communities. You can't open up a business. You can't have managerial positions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You can't get bank loans out. There's a whole lot of people that are actually alive that existed under that situation now. So,
That's correct.
but see, the African American community never talks about reparations for Jim Crow. They only talk about for slavery.
Well, I disagree. I think when you do follow those people and do talk to the people who are actually putting plans together and putting things together for, reparations or something like that, it's not just slavery that's talked about. Even though slavery definitely should be redressed, there's a lot of unpaid wages that's owed to families, right? So if I stole something from your grandfather 80 years ago, right? Does not your family still have a right to that?
I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, if I broke in your house, let's say I broke in your house, I took a painting off the wall, or I took something out of your, and your great grandkids find out about it. You and I are long gone. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if they could prove it, it might be stolen property. You probably would. Your great grandkids probably would have a right to it if they could prove all of that. But shit, that would be almost impossible. I don't know. I mean, I hear what you're saying, though.
I mean, it's only, but again, I think it's only impossible when we talk about, we have quantified so many things. And we have actuators who have quantified our life and how much we're worth with insurance policies, but we can't quantify what Black people are owed. I think that's absurd.
But how would you even dole out reparations? Because there's a lot of Blacks in this country that have migrated to America after slavery had nothing to do with it. And there's also a lot of white people that have migrated to America after slavery and had nothing to do with it as well. So if I let's say I migrated to America from France after World War II or something like that in the 1950s or whatever, and now my children are around in 2025. I didn't own any slaves, so I was living in France. So my children are first, second generation French Americans. Why should their federal taxpayer money be attributed to reparations when their grandfather had nothing to do with it?
Again, you're an American citizen, and if this nation decides to redress its wrongs, then as a taxpayer, you're going to receive the benefits of the citizens of this country. Then you're also going to have to pay the taxes like everyone else. There's a lot of things that my tax dollars currently go to that I do not support. I do not support having a new Air Force base or Air Force facility in Idaho for Qatar. I do not support bombing of Iran. I do not support many things that this government engages in, but I pay my taxes every year just like every other citizen.
That's an excellent answer. I can't go nowhere with that. That's an excellent answer. I mean, it's just going to be some people pissed off about it, but your answer is undeniable. You're right. If you want to become an American citizen, as a condition of becoming an American citizen, this is what's going to happen. I mean, this government is going to represent you. So if the government suggests that we should pay reparations, you wanted to be a citizen here. This is part of it. So I can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that.
That's a big part of it, man. And I think that, again, if you're a person that's coming to this country saying that I didn't have anything to do with it, then you don't know your history. You don't know American history. And you probably should fall back. You should probably refrain from speaking on things that you don't understand or care to understand, because the information is out there. But unfortunately, many Americans just don't seek that sort of information because it doesn't impact them directly.
In closing, though, do you feel like reparations to African Americans? Do you feel like that's something that'll ever happen?
Probably not. Just because, like I said before, unfortunately, there's not enough Black people to really impact the political process the way that it needs to be impacted, because here we are today. We have an administration that is currently restoring Confederate names, statues, while simultaneously removing African American history out of classrooms, removing it out of museums even, right? Yeah. So I think we are realizing just how
it ain't gonna happen under Trump is what you're saying.
Country. We won't. I don't think so. I don't think so, Tim. And it's unfortunate because until that's redressed, Black people will always have a reason to be angry. If you want Black people to chill out, then redress the wrongs. and then we can start there.
Good luck with that. I appreciate you coming through. Smooth one.
Appreciate you, bro.
Great talk, great answers, man. Come on back anytime. All right, moving on with the program. By the way, tap the screen. Cody like says Native Americans are also negatively affected. Most of them live in poverty, relying only on government handouts. The Native Americans, I think their situation is a little bit different though, because unlike the Native Americans, Black people did try to assimilate with the white man's culture, but in every shape and form. I mean, the language, the religion, the way they dress, right on into corporate America. Black people did assimilate. The Native Americans are like, fuck the white man, I'll stay on the reservation. So that has had some great effect on their finances. You say they're living in poverty. I mean, they're on reservations that in a lot of cases you can barely even farm on them. I mean, some of the reservations are, they put them on some of the worst land you can find in some of those areas. So they're not trying to enter corporate America. They're not trying to enter U.S. politics. The African American communities permeated all the way through politics. I mean, we've had an African American be president, African American governors, lieutenant governors, and mayors and shit. They actually did assimilate. So that's going to greatly affect the financial outcome of the Native Americans. They won. They took your land. They won. They're controlling what's going on now. It's kind of one of those, if you can't beat them, join them. You're going to have to assimilate. You can't just stay here on a reservation like this. And they've had to kind of operate that way. They did get some reparation-like benefits. Okay, you could sell tobacco, for instance, without having taxes, or you could open up casinos and things like that. But that's a small prize, considering that they once owned the whole damn country, and now they're being allowed to sell tobacco and open up casinos. But yeah, it absolutely is going to affect their finances. You need to, and not only is it going to affect your finances, it's going to affect your power structure. Run for office. I mean, there's a whole, most of the major U.S. cities have Black governments. The top 3 or 4, what is the top city? New York is the biggest city. The mayor there is Black. Second largest city is Los Angeles. I believe the mayor there is African American. Third largest city is Chicago. The mayor there is Black. Fourth largest city in America is Houston. The mayor there is Black. So the Native Americans don't have any of that. They don't have any of that. So they absolutely should. I don't want to say get off the plantation, get off the reservation. To me, it would probably help them out more. I get the anger, at the white man. What the white man did to the Native Americans was horrible. I mean, what happened to Black people was horrible. But just continuing to sit there and grieve is only hurting them more. Get out there, run for office, do everything like the African American community is, fight back, get some rights, get some power. Who knows where it may go? But I don't believe just sitting on the reservation chilling like that is in their best interest. That's my opinion. They got smart. They opened a casino and took the white man's money. You're not getting enough of it that way. I probably, if you looked at the improvements financially, let's say wealth in the community, I believe the wealth in the Black community has probably grown more than the wealth in the Native American community. There's a lot of Black millionaires and shit like that now. You're going to have to assimilate in the program they've put forth. They've taken a country. You're not going to get it back. So either you conform to what they're doing and learn to do that right, or you're going to stay on this reservation barely getting by. And that's kind of what has happened. What happened still is the problem. I don't deny that there are problems happening today, but there's more to it than that. Hey, I like this guy, handsome liberal, good guy, and show him respect. T2, thank you, appreciate it. I did miss one of your comments there, T2. Your reparations are EBT. Oh my God. Never under my watch. Sorry. Yeah, I don't think reparations are going to happen anytime soon. I don't believe they're going to happen anytime soon. I think the resistance to it is just simply too. I think there are people in this country that would rather send money overseas than to give it to African Americans. Some of it is, yeah, they're playing victims and people feel that way, but some of it, there is still a significant amount of hate. I think some folks would rather give that money to somebody overseas as opposed to seeing it go to. There is a significant. I mean, there's a reason why the need or the cause of reparations existed to begin with. There was a certain amount of hate. So I think there's some people that would rather, you're just never going to, it doesn't matter what's going on. They're never going to favor giving reparations. That's just not going to happen. Reparations also means punishing descendants for ancestors' sins. That is true, i.e. generational punishment, which is wrong. But here's the problem, Cody Lotz. You're saying that giving reparations is punishing the descendants for the sins of their father. Well, yeah, but a lot of the stuff they did, the wealth they made off of that stuff, went to their descendants. So a lot of them were actually rewarded. A lot of the, listen, when you talk about taking the land from the Native Americans, for instance, for decades, they were handing out land as Americans continued progressing westward, even with the gold rush and stuff like that. They started chopping up land. Only white men could get it. And as those white men, their lifespan ended or whatever, they passed it down to their families and descendant to descendant to descendant. So, and some of that land is still in those families. So there are people who have grew up, been able to enjoy the fruits of a inheritance that came from land that their ancestors did not even earn. You talk about DEI. This was stolen from the Native Americans, given to you or your great-great-grandfather, whatever, and it's been passed down, and now you're benefiting from it. So the ancestors are actually benefiting from some of this stuff. There's a lot of people living today that are benefiting from slavery. There's a lot of farms that have been in people's families since the 1800s. When your family is the only one that could have owned this farm. My family couldn't have owned it. So there is plenty of folks living today that are still benefiting from what happened in the past. And I'm only bringing that up because a lot of folks often suggest that stuff happened years ago. Ain't nobody affected by slavery today. There's plenty of land and farms that are still in people's possessions that has been in their family name going all the way back to that period. When you think about it from a standpoint of generation to generation, it actually ain't that fucking long ago. I'll tell you a good example of me being a Gen Xer, for instance. Born in the early 70s. My mom was born in the late 40s. My grandparents are born in the 19 teens. I think my grandmother 1918 or something like that. Before her, you're going right into the era. So my grandmother was born in 1918. My great-grandmother was born in the late 1800s. So she would have probably been born maybe 10 years at best after slavery officially ended. Sharecropper era, which is essentially the same shit. That's my great-grandmother. That's somebody I actually knew as a kid. That ain't that far back. Now, my great-great-grandmother, I didn't know. That person was born in as a slave. That person was born a slave. It is that close. It is not as far back as people think it is. I could sit down with my grandmother, definitely with my great-grandmother, and they could tell you stories of they knew people who came straight out of slavery. They knew them. It's not that far back. It is not that far back. Looking in the comments real quick, I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss this. Many white people are also related to blacks, and that's where it becomes a problem, Cody Lux. That is where it becomes a problem. Is there's so much intertwining and things like that. But if you're taking the money out of the federal coffers, it would, if you're taking the money out of the federal coffers to give descendants of slavery some kind of reparations, what really is happening is some of the people are paying themselves. You've been paying, like me, I've been paying federal taxes as a working American my whole life. Started working when I was 14. So if all of a sudden I get reparations, shit, some of that's my own money coming back to me. I mean, it's coming out of the federal system. You're getting your own shit back. So yeah, I mean, there's no way to avoid that. There's no way to avoid that. Native Americans are also, I saw that already. So yeah, I don't see how you could avoid it. But you say reparations also means punishing descendants. Like I said, a lot of descendants of slave owners are benefiting from it. A lot of them are benefiting from it. Natives lost a war, and I think they should be treated better. Sure, but the thing is, ask Charlie Kirk, Jews suffered the Holocaust, yet they are fine. What's stopping you guys? It's about choices and family. No, the Jews got a whole fucking country. Wait a minute. Cody, you're getting that kind of wrong. You're getting that kind of wrong. And first of all, and not only that, but what happened to the Jews after the Holocaust? You're talking, how long did the Holocaust last? Early 1930s, it was over by 1945. That's not even 20 years. I mean, I don't think you can even compare the Holocaust to slavery and Jim Crow. You're talking about something that happened for 20 years under the Jewish community to something that happened for several hundred years under the, I mean, they're not the same. Hitler did a lot of damage, but he did a lot of damage in a very short period of time. Whereas you're talking about slavery, it's generation upon generation upon generation. I mean, that stuff went on for hundreds of years. So big difference. But I will say this. The Jewish community received a country behind what happened to them. Not only did they receive a country behind what happened to them, they also received all sorts of apologies. They received the right to get revenge. The Mossad went around the world going after those people. Even today, if you're found to be guilty of having something to do with the Holocaust, they'll still throw your 90-year ass in prison for that. They're still getting them. Big difference in regards to what happened to former slave owners. Former slave owners got reparations. They actually got treated great for what happened. We still have statues and monuments that honor slave owners. You don't see anybody putting up statues in Germany honoring Adolf Eichmann or somebody like that. They don't get any of that. Big difference. People still waving around the flag and stuff like that of slave owners in this country. They don't do that to the you go try going to Israel and waving around a swastika. It probably is against the law to do something like that. It would probably be against the law to go over there. Trying to go imagine going out in the middle of the night in Tel Aviv and putting up a statue of Adolf Eichmann. They would probably spend every resource available to find out who did that and lock your ass up. Big difference. We treat our people who were involved in that stuff. The people who committed the atrocities in America are treated significantly better than the people who abused the Jewish people. Significant difference. In fact, the people who abused the folks in this country were allowed to write their own history. They're not entertaining anything coming from the Third Reich in Israel. You ain't writing shit over there. Jews were also attacked. JED from 1948 to present, they never had true peace. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just simply saying the way we dealt with what happened to the Jewish people compared to the way we dealt with what happened. We're telling the African American people that didn't even happen. Most of the claims that the African American community has made has been met with resistance. The police are not mistreating you. Jim Crow ain't that bad. You got free housing and free food. Slavery ain't that. I mean, it's just night and day. I don't even like comparing those two. It's night and day. It's been night and day from day one. I mean, like I said, we got statues and flags all over this country honoring the people who were in favor of slavery. The Jewish people ain't dealing with that. It's not even legal to honor the Third Reich in Germany. And there's not a lot of Jews in Germany anymore. They don't even allow you to do it there. You go down south, people are telling you the South is going to rise again. Can you imagine the Third Reich will rise again? Being said, go to Jerusalem and say something like that. So it's not even in the same universe. Speaking of which, appreciate that, Portia. Thank you. It's a big difference. It's a big difference. Flux, you paid. What did that say in the comments? Flux says, so why do you support the party that waves those flags? I support free speech. I don't support the Confederate movement. I don't support the idea that the Confederate movement, flags, whatever it is about pride and heritage. I don't buy that. And the reason I say that is because the South has existed for most of America's history. And there's just so many things that could represent the South. They got peaches in Georgia. I mean, Florida has its sunshine. The same shit you see on the license plates. There's all sorts of things that can represent the South. Why pick the most darkest, divisive time in history to use as a symbol to represent the South? A time period out of all of American history, from 1776 till now, how long was the Civil War? A handful of years? Why pick that time when America was the most divided, the most murderous towards each other, to use that symbol to represent the South? So I don't buy that it's about pride and heritage for that simple reason. There's so many other symbols that could have been picked. And then, of course, in addition to that, I always bring up the fact that I don't care if a veteran is 90 years old. If he sees you burning the flag or disrespecting the flag, he'll get out of a wheelchair and try to beat your ass. Fought and died for that flag. But you can preach all kinds of hate in front of somebody who support the Confederate flag, and they don't do nothing about it at all. I don't understand that. If it's about pride and heritage, if it's about pride and heritage, why would you let all these hate groups use your flag to preach hate? Veterans don't allow you to abuse the American flag like that. They speak out. You can go to any major or any small town throughout the South, stand on the Capitol steps of that town and preach hate and have your own protest. You won't find any Confederate supporters to show up and complain about that. But if you talk about taking down one of the statues or something, they come out in droves. So they know how to protest. You see what happened in Charlottesville? They came out to protest taking down the statue. Why not come out to protest when somebody like Dylan Roof is wearing it on his arm and killing people while doing it? So like I said, I don't buy into the I believe in free speech. You have a right to fly these symbols, but I don't buy into the notion it's all about pride and heritage. I think just about, look, anybody can hate. There's hate groups of all races. There are racists of all races. I don't believe anybody is incapable of being a racist. You can be black and be racist. You can be Hispanic and be racist. But one thing that seems to be fairly common among white people that are racist, in their groups, the Confederate flag is usually present. And it is for that reason that I have a hard time believing it's about pride and heritage. Most Caucasian-based hate groups use the Confederate flag as one of their symbols. And like I said, the supporters of the Confederate flag do not seem to have a problem with it. That's why I have a hard time believing it's about pride and heritage for that reason. Anyway, folks, I do appreciate the 101. We didn't get some lazy thumbs in here. With some lazy thumbs, and I do appreciate you guys tapping the screen. It has been tied with hate more than anything. Yeah, like I said, it's for that reason. If they were speaking out more against it, because like I said, we've seen Confederate supporters know how to protest. If we've seen them exercising their right to protest when people were using it as hate, as opposed to when liberals are hating on it, then I would have, to me, that would make a big difference, but they don't. I mean, and you can go back quite a while. I mean, I used to go down to the Civil Rights Museum that honors Martin Luther King down there in Memphis, and they got really old photos, black and white photos and things like that. Even back then, when the KKK was doing things, they were using that Confederate flag. It was one of their symbols. So you're talking about 70, 80 years ago, and it goes back before that. I'm sure back in the 20s and things like that, where KKK goes back probably about 100 years. They've always been using that Confederate flag as a symbol. And the pride and heritage people have been fairly quiet on it. So I appreciate you folks tapping the screen. As always, we don't block, ban, or censor. Thank you for the 100,000+ likes. Nevertheless, come on up anytime, and I'll see you folks tomorrow. Follow the program if you enjoy this type of open dialogue from all sides of the aisle. It's your boy Tim, the handsome liberal. Got a step. And thank you folks as well on my YouTube side. I don't know why I didn't go out, but thank you.